2024, the first day of NFL free agency being official, and we can already see some new direction for the New York Jets with the team that they will be putting onto the field in 2024. But we're not going to just talk about the Jets tonight. We're going to talk about each team in the AFC East. We are going to take a look, as I'm getting some feedback here. We'll get into why that happened in a little bit, but that's a problem we could solve very easily. But we are actually going to get into each AFC East team, take a look at what they've kept, what they've gained, and what they've lost. We're going to look at the big picture. We're going to be doing 3 and out, trivia, all kinds of stuff coming up for you tonight. But it's Wednesday night, it's 10 p.m., and we are live. Guys, I want to welcome everybody here to New York Sports WickerMedia for the Wednesday night live extravaganza. I am Wa2K99, and I'm coming here live from the studio apartment in Newport News, Virginia. And as it's already been pointed out in the chat, that's right. It is time almost for Shamrock season. Wish everybody a very happy Pi Day tomorrow on March 14th. There's one of my friends happen to call it steak and a blowjob day. I don't know quite where that came from. I certainly wouldn't have the experience, but regardless of whatever you're celebrating this week, have a great time, be safe, and all that good stuff. I'll be running a 5-miler on Saturday, so and the beer will be welcome afterwards. But we have a whole lot of stuff to get into tonight. But let's get into a little bit of sports talk right now, and we're going to get into it with a little bit of what we like to call 3 and out. So the first thing on my mind is a little bit of NBA basketball. The New York Knicks starting to look whole again. You know, after Sunday night, which was just that offense was an abortion that night. I mean, both teams combined for under 160 points, the Knicks and the Sixers. I thought I was watching a game from the 90s again, you know, back when 80 points was par for the course. But the Knicks had a great rebound on Tuesday, beating Philadelphia 106-79. OG Anunoby returns after having elbow surgery, and boy, was he needed. His toughness, the way he spaces out the floor, his defense, his outside shooting, much, much needed. But Josh Hart, probably my guy, triple-double, 20 points, 19 rebounds, 10 assists. This is why I was basically begging Knicks fans to not panic. The team had to get some time on the floor together. They had to come together, and that's exactly what we saw in this game. I mean, Tom Thibodeau was so comfortable, he removed all the starters with 6 minutes to go in the game. That's less common than every Jets fan being collectively happy. It just don't happen. So now it's time to go out west. Knicks have 4 on the road in Portland, Sacramento, Golden State, and Denver. Hopefully you at least split those 4 games. 3 wins would be great, but you know what? You take the 2. Make sure you beat Portland, who stinks. If you get one of the other games, you know what? You accept that. All right, on to hockey, and I want to spend a minute or two on each team here. First of all, I'm actually going to start with the Islanders for a change, since they've been one of the hottest teams in the sport. Their 6-game winning streak comes to an end. They lose to the LA Kings 3-0 on Monday. They're in action tomorrow night, Thursday, against Buffalo up in Western New York. And then this weekend, they got a back-to-back against Ottawa and the Rangers. That's going to be pretty good. Now, they are currently tied for the last wild card spot with the Detroit Red Wings, 4 points behind Philadelphia for the 3rd spot in the Metro. So the Islanders, even with this great win streak, you know, they still have a long way to go to clinch a playoff spot. And I'm not going to spend too much time on the Rangers. I did a big recap last night on their fantastic 1-0 win in Carolina against the Hurricanes. You can definitely check that video out. But again, just to say it again, this felt like a playoff game. It was a huge one for the Rangers to win that game on the road in regulation and extend their lead in the Metro Division from 4 points to 6 points was absolutely fantastic. And then the Devils, well, they face Dallas tomorrow. The playoffs feel like a long shot. They've got 17 games to make up 6 points, and they also have to pass 4 teams to do it. So the odds are not in their favor. And I want to spend a quick note on baseball here as well. And that is on Garrett Cole, the Yankees ace pitcher, who had an MRI on his right elbow. And this is like the most ambiguous MRI that we've ever seen. I found out what MRI stands for. Mysterious results indicated. All right, so here, all we know right now, they won't say what the diagnosis is, but Cole apparently will be out 1 to 2 months, and he's heading to L.A. For an appointment with Neil Atrachi. That's the same doctor who worked with Aaron Rodgers on his Achilles. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. We might talk about him later. I don't know. But Cole has not been on the injured list since September of 2016, and now he's out for probably at least the first quarter of the season. It actually begs the question, whether you're a Mets fan or a Yankees fan, who comes back first, Kodai Senga or Garrett Cole? It's going to be interesting. All right, guys. Well, that is enough of that. Now let's get into the main stuff for the night. But before we do that, just want to say a couple quick hellos to the people in the chat. We've got the great Hank G. Hello to you, my friend. Glad that you are here. Johnny Jimenez. Yep, point out the Shamrock. Yep, I'm representing for St. Patrick's Day. Very, very excited. I'll be in the ocean front running Saturday morning, and weather looks pretty good. There's talk of rain, but looks like the rain's going to hold up. It was 70 degrees outside today, man. It was so nice out. Man, just beautiful. All right, well, let's get into a little bit of the main event right now. We're going to talk a little New York Jets football. So say it with me, say it loud, and let it go. That's what I'm talking about. So we are here to talk a little New York Jets football. Since you, my audience, are primarily Jets fans, I aim to meet the needs of the chat. I'm sure we'll have some more people filtering in. I know a lot of people are recording tonight, so definitely appreciate you spending some time with me. Let's talk about I'm just going to address the elephant in the room, okay? The whole thing with Aaron Rodgers, possibly running with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be president, and Aaron Rodgers is one of the calls that RFK has made to be vice president, along with Jesse the Body Ventura, amongst a few other people. I know that we watch each other's shows and things like that to try to get opinions, to get news, to get a breakdown of what's going on. And you all deserve my breakdown, my opinion on this. So I'm here to give you my opinion on this. And here's my opinion. I don't give a damn. I really don't. I think this is a bunch of hogwash. Here's what I know. RFK Jr., say what you will, third-party candidates, and I'm not here to get political, but third-party candidates typically barely have any chance to win. And how little attention has he been getting over the last few months? He may very well be the third-party candidate, and now over the last 24 hours, more people have talked about him because of Aaron Rodgers. That's it. You mention Aaron Rodgers, it gets a response. I don't think anything is ever going to happen with it. I think it's just a little publicity stunt, and then it goes away. I think by the end of the weekend, we'll pretty much forget that this was ever a thing. Yeah, I had to deal with a Dolphins fan at the office saying, "Hey, is your quarterback going to be vice president?" I'm like, "No, Lee, get out of here." It's just, to me, it's a complete non-story. Every week, there's another new ridiculous story with the Jets. This is just going to be the latest one. All right. So let's talk about a few things. We're going to get into free agency, and I got a couple of different things to present, but I want to talk about, now that we've had a bunch of signings come down, quite a few actually. We've had close to like 75 or 80 signings right now. But I wanted to isolate 5 in particular that were not Jets related, but I thought that kind of made an impact on me that I thought stood out for different reasons and I thought could affect the Jets in turn. So let's take a look at that. We're going to make this a little bit bigger. There we go. So 5 free agent contracts that have been signed or agreed to that have stood out. And one of them to me is John Runyon Jr., the offensive guard from the Packers. He signed a contract with the New York Giants for 3 years and $30 million. Both New York football teams had a big, big need to upgrade that offensive line. And I felt Runyon could be one of those sort of lower cost options that would make sense. He's played with Aaron Rodgers. He's at a good age, got a good football pedigree. His dad was a fantastic offensive lineman for the Eagles for many years. And, Runyon's been a more than adequate guard in the NFL in his own right. So when I saw the terms of that contract that he got $10 million a year from the Giants, I thought to myself, "Uh-oh, this is good. This market's about to get a little bit crazy right now." Okay, so that was sort of the first sign. First of all, I didn't have Runny as like a top guard on the list, but I had him, maybe like guard 6, 7, 8, right in that area. So for him to get 10 million, I was like, "Uh-oh, what are these other players going to get?" And we would find out quickly as Robert Hunt of the Miami Dolphins. Man, I wanted him more than I wanted Mike Onwenu, which I think surprised a few people. But I thought Hunt would be a perfect fit for the Jets, more of a zone blocker as opposed to a gap blocker. You weaken Miami as well. I thought Hunt would be a great, great target, but he signs with Carolina, who had a ton of cap space. And I don't know how many other contracts have caused such disbelief as this one. Good as Hunt is, he is. Paying a guard $20 million a year, that's pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy, and especially with Carolina, they're not exactly one piece away from being a playoff contender. So to give that much money to a guard, it's a very interesting use of resources. Okay, number 3 is another offensive lineman, Lloyd Cushenberry. A lot of Jets fans were really looking at Cushenberry. They wanted to bring him in, move Joe Tippmann over to guard. It seems like a lot of different Jets analysts and writers have been a little bit torn on what to do with Joe Tippmann, whether to leave him at center or flip him out over to guard. Well, to me, I thought the only center in free agency worth doing that for was Lloyd Cushenberry. Mitch Morse, maybe once he eventually became a free agent, but that didn't last very long. He was scooped up within 2 days. But I was willing to do it for Cushenberry, and he basically reset the market on center. Signs with the Tennessee Titans. Man, what a free agency period they've had. 4 years, $50 million. Heck of a contract that he got, did Cushenberry. And once that happened, that pretty much signaled to me, all right, you know what? Unless the Jets pull off some sort of weird trade down and take Jackson Powers Johnson, Joe Tippmann is all but certainly going to be the center on this team going forward. Now, number 4 for me going to the defensive side of things was Leonard Williams. This one was pretty impressive. First of all, I apologize for the lime green uniform being on your screen right now. But the fact that he signed with Seattle and got 3 years, $64.5 million, $21.5 million a year. Man, how good does the Quinnen Williams contract look? Quinnen is a far better player than Leonard Williams, and they basically have almost the same average annual value. Quinnen, I believe, got 4 years, $96 million. And so Leonard Williams is only getting like $2 million less per year. Man, so to me, that was not only a necessary contract that the Jets gave Quinnen, I'm glad they gave it to him when they did. Because if they had to wait another year or so, who knows what it would have looked like. But I think it would have been a lot higher than it was. And number 5, this one might surprise you, but I'm going to go with Kenny Moore, the cornerback from the Indianapolis Colts. Now, why do I have a cornerback on this list? Here's the reason. Kenny Moore is one of the best slot corners in the NFL. He re-signed with Indianapolis for 3 years and $30 million. The Jets have a pretty good slot corner of their own named Michael Carter II. Okay? His contract is coming up next season. So the Jets are going to have to make a decision. Do they keep Michael Carter? Personally, I think we all would want them to, because slot corners are a position that, it's one of those things you don't necessarily know that you need it until you do need it. But Carter is one of the absolute best in the NFL. And I think people are slowly starting to realize the importance of one. So you better hold on to a good one while you have it. Because think about it. You're playing the inside. You don't have the other sideline to help you. If you're playing the middle of the field, the receiver has all these that much more options, to make a move, to go this way, to go that way. You got to be quick. You got to be twitchy. You got to be like an incredible athlete to be a really good slot corner. And Michael Carter is that. So for Kenny Moore to get $10 million a year, that might be a barometer of what we could expect Michael Carter II to get one day down the road. So those are 5 free agents that other teams signed that I thought had a little bit of an impact on the Jets. And so that was kind of a little bit of a different thing. Thought I'd do that. Okay, guys, it is time for a weekly tradition it is becoming right now. Every single week we play a little game. And it is not the trivia game. It is not the wheel game. That game is called Who Left the Jets This Week? Every week, somebody new is saying goodbye to the green and white. Let's do a little bit of a recap just like we did last week. You know what's coming, guys. First was Rex Hogan, the assistant general manager. And what happened to him?
He gone!
Yes, he is gone. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he was leaking a little bit of information because we know under Joe Douglas, the Jets have run a very, very tight ship, or they did for a long time. But in the last couple of months, there were little leaks coming out of Florham Park. Well, hey, at least the Morgan Moses thing came out of nowhere. So I wouldn't be surprised if Rex Hogan was leaking a little bit of information to the media. Wouldn't be surprised. Let's keep going. Chad Alexander, Vice President of Player Personnel. And what happened to him?
He gone!
On his way to the Chargers, he is gone as well. Good luck to him in all his future endeavors. And then we get to the coaches. It was Rob Calabrese, the quarterback coach. This was not a coach that the players liked. This was not a coach that the fans liked. We don't even know why he got a job, but he doesn't have a job with the Jets anymore. So you know what that means for him?
He gone!
He gone as well. See you, Rob Calabrese. All the best to you as well. I'm sure you're a fine human being, but my God, you couldn't do a thing with Zach Wilson. Then we get to the players. It was Laken Tomlinson, offensive guard, got a big contract. Jets fans were thrilled. It made all the sense in the world. And yes, he played every game. He was tough and he was durable. But when he played, he, for the most part, was not a good guard at all. Very, very, very frustrating. And let's see, last I checked, he has not been signed yet. So as far as the Jets are concerned, what does that mean?
He gone!
He gone as well. That gave the Jets 3 openings on their offensive line. And hey, 2 of them have already been filled. And then we get to last week, it was CJ Uzama. I tweeted him, and he wrote a very nice response back. Well, he gave me a thumbs up. That's what I'll consider a nice response. Just saying thanks for being a good dude. Sorry it didn't work out as well as it should have. Very, very nice guy, no doubt about it. But on the field, it just flat out did not work. And when you have Jeremy Ruckert, when you have Ty Conklin, when you have Kenny Yeboah, and when you have the emerging all-pro tight end talent from Old Dominion University named Zach Coots, there just wasn't room for a CJ Uzama. So he had to go.
He gone!
He gone as well. GBH, he's exactly right. Waiting on you to say Nathaniel Hackett. You're going to have to wait at least 1 year. You know what? Maybe I should do that. Believe me, I do not have that much. If I had that much power, one of my teams would have won a championship in the last 30 years. All right, and then we got one more to talk about, and that is going to be this week. We have to talk about Bryce Huff, the biggest free agent the Jets had by far. I think deep down, as much as we wanted him back, we just knew it wasn't going to happen. Now he is on his way. He's going to still be wearing green, but he's going to be with the bad green. It's going to be with the Philadelphia Eagles. So Bryce Huff, while we thank you for your time, we thank you for your production. It's just the business.
He gone!
He gone as well. All right, so I want to spend actually seriously a moment on Bryce Huff because this was a player, even from the first season that, I thought a few people saw some potential in, and there were some people who like ribbed those of us. I was actually called a Bryce Huff truther. I didn't even know truther was a thing back then. I thought it was a phrase invented for Zach Wilson, but you know what? 3 years, $51 million for Huff, and we couldn't keep him. You know what? I think a big thing for him was he wanted the playing time. But this was the deal. I just had a feeling that Bryce Huff knew from the beginning he was not going to be here long term. And here's why I'm saying that. The news gets announced that Bryce Huff is on his way to Philadelphia. Not even 1 minute later, Bryce Huff has his statement out on social media thanking New York, thanking the Jets fans, thanking the coaches, thanking his teammates for the 4 years he spent. He had this ready to go for weeks. The graphic, the pictures. This was not like a quick typed out statement. This was carefully designed. It was all ready to go. And I'm telling you, he had it going for weeks. And he knew it once Will McDonald was drafted. He knew that he was going to be gone. That's why he did not really unpack his apartment in New Jersey. He knew his time was limited. He knew this was a contract year for him. There's no way around it. I can't be mad at Bryce Huff. I can't be. And I am a big Joe Douglas defender. Those of you who know me know this. I can't defend him on this one. I just can't do it. So, hey, that's why they drafted Will McDonald. And I think once McDonald was drafted, we kind of knew deep down Huff was not long for being with the Jets. So, hey, I hope it works out well for Huff. The good thing is we don't have to see him until the Super Bowl this year. Knock on wood. That's what I'm going to manifest, GVH. I'm going to manifest a Super Bowl appearance. Let's see if that works. So, but I do look at another thing, though, with the money. We know the cap is going up, but I think another part of it is the Jets want to make sure they have enough assets, that they have enough cap space to retain all the players from that draft class. Sauce, JJ, Garrett, maybe Brees, Elijah Vera Tucker back before him. Remember, AVT is going to be making $15 million next year on his fifth-year option, assuming he actually plays. Okay, so that's a situation you got to make sure you have a lot of young players coming up. And if you got to lose Bryce up to keep some of those other guys, like legit all-pro players, then you know what? I can't kill them for doing that. But that's one of the things with the best teams. They do have to let certain players go in free agency or they trade them, but they have somebody ready to take their place. So, and hey, Will McDonald just might be able to do it. GVH with a question. Do you know if there is any way we can get anything for Bryce up comp pick-wise? You know what? I don't think we're going to know just yet because we have to see more free agents come back. I do know this. 32 comp picks are assigned. And as you know, it happens around March of each year, late February, early March of the next year. I think on the surface, the Jets would be in position to get a fourth-round pick. But the fact that they signed John Simpson, that could reduce it or even cancel it out. So as of right now, I'd say probably not, but Jordan Whitehead did go as well. So I think there's a chance he would count against the comp pick formula, so that might help the Jets as well. But other than that, we'll talk about some of the different free agents. But the Jets haven't really signed a lot of premium free agents who might factor into the formula. Like the defensive tackle from Arizona, for instance. I don't think he's going to factor in. Isaiah Oliver, I don't think he's going to factor in, right? So, yeah, I guess the one, Javon Kinlaw, he might factor in. If I had to guess right now, and it's still early, because remember, the Jets have only had 2 free agents signed away. Only 2, and Bryce Huff and Jordan Whitehead. Actually, I should have made a Jordan Whitehead slide, but I didn't have the time today, so I apologize. Yeah, I'll have the Jordan Whitehead slide ready to go next week for the He Gone. All right, well, we will do that. I would say as of right now, probably not, but we're just going to have to see how it all breaks down. Yeah, still a little bit early in free agency because I think there's a certain point when you get to like June or so. If you sign a player after that, then it doesn't factor in that whole formula. So I think we have to wait a couple of months before we really know how it's going to go. All right, guys. So let's take we're going to get into the Jets specifically in a moment, but I want to take a look around the AFC East. We're going to do what I'm going to call the AFC East free agency scorecard. So we're going to look at each team in the AFC East, look at what they've done, who they've added, who they've lost, who they retained, and just kind of have an overall feel for how these teams, are they better than they were last year? Are they worse off? Are they about the same? So I thought it'd be fun to go through each one of these teams. So let's do that. Let's start with the Buffalo Bills. Now, I've got a couple of columns here. Now, as far as what they gained, first of all, they actually cut a lot of players. Jordan Poyer, Trey White, Deontay Hardy, Nyheim Hines, Mitch Morse, all of them were cut. Most of them, their contracts weren't even up. Now, guys like Leonard Floyd, his contract came up, but Gabe Davis, he was a free agent as well. And but the Bills had to lose some cap space. They had to lose some cap hits to open up a little bit of space. And you look at who they gained and how much of this really scares you. Adding Mitchell Trubisky as a backup quarterback. We got the great Jets mess here, channel member. Good to see you, my friend. I'm glad that you are here. Hey, I hope you're checking out the videos because your name is on the end of every single video. So, if anybody is interested in channel memberships for $4.99 a month, I know, quick plug, but your name will be featured at the end of every one of my videos. So just going to keep that Keep that in mind. It's a little bonus, along with the emojis and the stickers and all that fun stuff. All right, but Mitch Trubisky is the backup quarterback. They added Mac Hollins, wide receiver, who's more of a special teams player. I do like Nicholas Morrow, pretty good linebacker. Came over from the Raiders. Him along with Matt Milano, that's a very good combination at linebacker. And they retained quite a few players, too. They kept Cam Smith at quarterback, Daquan Jones at defensive tackle. I know Nick Shine really wanted him. AJ Espinoza, he was retained, too. And Douchey Dion Dawkins, this idiot, they kept him as well. So, hey, Michael Clemens, Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, that's your target. Eat his lunch and spit it right back in his fat face. Yeah. Dion Dawkins. What? Yeah, douchey Dion's what I'm calling him from now on. There's Jets Mess hitting those emojis. Beautiful. The wheel, Aaron Rodgers, the wicker chair, and the Jets logo. Awesome. Hey, you hit the Jets logo, then I think I got to do it again. All right. So that is kind of what's going on with the Bills. Now, when you look at this, they really lost a lot of premium players, especially on the defense. Leonard Floyd is an excellent pass rusher. I'm glad that he is on his way out. I did not want him anywhere near Aaron Rodgers again this season. And Dane Jackson as well. It's very interesting. Both Dane Jackson and Jordan Poyer went to the Dolphins. The Dolphins basically raided the Bills' secondary. Saron Neal, he went as well. So a lot of hits to that defense. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. So I would say the Bills definitely took a step backward in free agency. Let's see what they wind up doing in the draft. But so far, free agency has not been kind to the AFC Eastern Division champions. Now, with the Miami Dolphins, they have not retained any of their own free agents, but they made a few moves. Now, with Miami, they really added at linebacker Jordan Brooks and Anthony Walker. Brooks of the Seattle Seahawks. Anthony Walker, excellent tackler, good sideline tackler with Cleveland. That is actually a player I wanted the Jets to sign a time or two. Never did quite work out. Now he goes over to Miami. And keep in mind, the Dolphins have lost a little bit at linebacker. They had to replace that. But they've added Jonnu Smith at tight end on a 2-year contract. He's never really been the same since he left Tennessee. Shaq Barrett, that's an interesting signing. 1 year, $9 million, 31 years old, I believe now. They lost a little bit at edge rusher. Shaq Barrett could be a very interesting piece for them. Oh, and I think they cut Emmanuel Ogba as well. I think he's out. So they did need a pass rusher, and Shaq Barrett's a pretty good one. You have to wonder if his prime is behind him, though. And like I mentioned, they added a Jordan Poyer and Saron Neal from the Bills in the secondary. Who did they lose? They lost a lot of premium players. Robert Hunt, the guard, we talked about him a moment ago, signing a 5-year, $100 million deal with Carolina. And like the Bills, the Dolphins defense took a lot of hits here. They signed some players, but they lost a lot of players. Christian Wilkins, huge contract to get him out of Miami is what it took. So he's off to the Raiders. Raekwon Davis is gone. Andrew Van Ginkel, who's been there a long time, he's gone also. Jerome Baker at linebacker. Brandon Jones, who I thought was a very under-the-radar safety. So Poyer is going to replace him. I don't know how much Poyer really has in the tank at this point in his career, but the Dolphins turned over a lot of their defense, and of course, most of all, their defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, no longer in Miami. So there's a lot of changes going on with this Dolphins defense. Of course, we got all the respect in the world for Tua. Well, at least the weapons that he has. We got all the respect in the world for Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, Devon A-Chain, guys like that. But boy, the Dolphins had to do a lot of turnover. I don't know what you can really expect from them next year. It's going to be a very interesting season for them. And then you've got our friends up in Foxborough, the New England Patriots, came in with the second most cap space of any team in the NFL. But what impact have they really made here? What have they really done? They kept a lot of players. They kept Hunter Henry. They kept Kendrick Bourne. They kept Mike Onwenu. That's great. They kept Josh Uche, the edge rusher. And, of course, a lot of teams wanted Onwenu. He may have been the most sought-after offensive line free agent on the market. But you know what? The Patriots stunk with him last year. They could stink again with him this year, too. So I'm not too worried about that. And then we look at the players they added. They added Jacoby Brissett. which makes sense because he's going to have an opportunity to start if he's just going against Bailey Zappi and whoever the rookie quarterback is that they choose to draft. I would expect Brissett to start the season next year, but we will just have to see how that goes. Antonio Gibson, pretty good running back, good young running back from Washington. Hasn't really, his best season was really 3 years ago. I was kind of interested in the Jets adding him, but, I've always been more into the idea of the Jets drafting a running back. The Patriots signed him, give him a multi-year contract. So we'll see how that works out for them to go with Ramondre Stevenson in the backfield. Chukwuma Okorofor, tackle. I didn't know who he was either. Nick Leverett, another guard. They just signed him as well. Another offensive lineman. I don't think too many people know. Armon Watts, defensive tackle, played with Pittsburgh. He's a pretty productive defensive tackle. But let's be honest. All they lost was Mike Gesicki. Had the Patriots done anything in free agency to cause you any concern? They couldn't get Calvin Ridley a wide receiver, and God knows they wanted to, but they couldn't pull that off. So to me, there is no team. If you look at Buffalo, Miami, and New England, who really got better? I think you could very easily make the argument that so far nobody really has. You've got some swapping in and out, with like defenses and stuff like that. There's not too much here that really, really scares me. There isn't. I'm even looking at who's the best player that any of these teams gain. I'm gonna scroll backwards here. Brissett, maybe. Probably Shaq Barrett, probably the best player. Yeah, probably Shaq Barrett on Miami. But still, they lost a lot of other pieces on the defense also. They lost Wilkins. They lost Van Ginkel. They lost Baker. They lost Jones. So there's a whole lot there that was lost. So to me, I don't think anybody in the AFC East got much better. I think the AFC South got better. The AFC West got better. But the East and the North, I don't know about that. Quick comment from GVH. Wicker, did Kraft stick a middle finger at a Belichick by the revolving door at free agents? Too much tinfoil. Huh. I don't know. They did. Again, they kept what they had. I think they tried to. But, they had some contracts to clear out. And they did keep Kyle Duggar. Well, they tagged Kyle Duggar like a week ago. So I guess I can include that one, too. But you know what? They didn't make a real marquee acquisition yet. So to me, it's like they could attempt to sign all these players, but they really didn't bring in anybody that's going to scare you. All right. So I'm not overly worried about it. Now let's get into our team. Let's get into the New York Jets. We're going to talk about these moves in a little bit of depth here. So first of all, and I'm gonna kind of take this in order of the signings as they happened. So Isaiah Oliver, the cornerback, 27 years old, spent 5 years in Atlanta, 1 year in San Francisco. Jeff Ulbrich knows him very well from Atlanta. Now with Isaiah Oliver, I've seen some people say, well, this could replace Bryce Hall on the outside as a backup quarterback, replace Brandon Eccles down the road, something like that. The thing, though, is that Oliver plays the slot. Okay, oftentimes he plays close to the line of scrimmage. I think this is more of a backup to Michael Carter II. Maybe a Javelin Guidry type of replacement. I don't think he's going to replace Bryce Hall. And the other thing with Oliver, he's very, very good on special teams. I think there is a chance, not saying I want this, but there is a chance that he could replace Justin Hardy if the Jets don't bring him back. Now, the Jets kept Kenny Yeboah, excellent special teams player. Ashton Davis, we're going to have to see what happens. We don't know. There is talk that he wants to find a starting opportunity. Right now, he probably would not have that with the Jets. He would just be part of a 3-safety formation, along with Chuck Clark and Tony Adams. Okay, so to me, Oliver is sort of a special teams slot corner type of guy. That's what he really is. And the second thing the Jets did was they kept Greg Zuerlein, their kicker, 2 years, $8.4 million. So a 4.2 AAV is 11th highest for kickers, which I think is more than fair. Of that 8.4, 4.2 million is guaranteed. The cap hit for this year is 2.755. Next year, a little bit higher, 5.645. So that cap hit in 2025 is a good deal higher. So let's see what winds up happening. But, we talked about how Bailey, we wanted special teams to come back. I talked about it last week, and that is exactly what appears to be happening, at least when it comes to the kicking game. I don't know what's going to happen with Justin Hardy, but I will say this. He was raising a little bit of a ruckus on Twitter talking about, well, this is the time of year when everyone forgets that special teams can win or lose you a game. Justin, I've defended you. I've supported you amongst a lot of criticism from Jets fans and Jets content creators. Special teams don't got the impact it used to have, man. Not like it used to. These aren't the days of when Mike Westhoff was coaching. It isn't that way anymore. Does it matter? Absolutely. And when Justin Hardy was not on the field, when he was injured, we saw a difference. But you know what? Right now, last I checked, very few offensive tackles have signed. Somehow I think that market should be moving first before we get to, our special teams ace. Okay. If there's room to bring him back, great. But if there isn't, I'm not going to cry over it. All right, the next signing we made was John Simpson, 2 years, $18 million. Our brand new left guard, 6'4", 330 pounds, 26 years old. I got to say, I don't know if I've seen too many players who have such different reviews from watching the same film. Okay, so I looked at an ESPN article that went through the signings, and it stated that Simpson allowed 8 sacks last year and ranked 24th among guards in pass block win rate and 67th in run block win rate. But then PFF has him conceding just 1 sack and 31 pressures. So it's a difference of 7 sacks from ESPN to PFF. So go figure. I mean, when you're grading an offensive lineman, I mean, what do you even trust with? And it gets better. ESPN had him called for 10 penalties last year. PFF had him at 14. So you know what? Believe who you trust is what I would say. But there's a few things you can't deny about Simpson. He is super explosive, a very, very good pass blocker that does not give up sacks, very, very durable. He plays. Now, he did play last year between Ronnie Stanley and Tyler Linderbaum. Very, very good lineman. And you have Lamar Jackson in the pocket, who's very capable of escaping a pass rush as well as any quarterback in football. So you can throw that into the mix as well. But yeah, John Simpson was not a player that a lot of us had in mind, but I'm glad they went and addressed that need very early on in the process. Especially looking at what some of these other offensive linemen have got. Yeah, Simpson, I think, is a very reasonable signing at what looks like $9 million a year. And the next move the Jets made was Javon Kinlaw, the defensive tackle. I think this is going to be Michael Nania's new whipping boy with Dalvin Cook gone. The Jets are giving him 1 year, $7 million. You would think this is Tremaine Johnson Part 2. Oh, my gosh. Javon Kinlaw is 26 years old, former 14th overall pick. He was 20th last year among defensive tackles in pass rush win rate. He can rush the passer. I think this is the replacement for Quentin Jefferson. I think that's what we're going to see. Maybe Solomon Thomas, but I think most likely Quentin Jefferson. Now, in 2023, he was very healthy. That had not been the case for most of his career. And last year, he had 3.5 sacks, 6 quarterback hits, 25 tackles, 35 quarterback pressures. By the way, that's 16 more pressures than his previous career high of 19, which was back in 2020 with Robert Saleh. So 2023 was his best season since his rookie year, is my point. All right. Now his pressure rate, which was 9.6% among 92 defensive tackles, ranked 31st. So that's about in the top 33% of the league, which is pretty good. Not a great run defender, but he definitely has good pass rush upside. His run stop win rate was 6.6%. That ranked 57th out of 103 defensive tackles. And as much as we like Quentin Jefferson, he was around the 80s. He was like mid to late 80s with run stop win rate. All right, so that makes a big difference. Kinlaw is a great fit for the 4-3 defense, and again for 1 year, I'll give almost anybody a chance on a 1 year contract. So I'm not too worried about that. And then the next signing was quarterback Tyrod Taylor. I know a lot of people wanted him on the Jets. At first I wasn't sold on the idea because I was thinking to myself, I don't want a quarterback with a very different skill set than Aaron Rodgers if he goes down, because I'm thinking mobile quarterback. And that's not really what Taylor is at this point. He's 35 years old. He doesn't really run like he used to. All right, but 2 years, $18 million, 58 career starts. He's 500 in those 58 starts, by the way. Now, the thing with Taylor, 61.4 completion percentage, 65 touchdowns to 30 interceptions. I like those numbers. I like those numbers a lot. I think 61% was Zach Wilson's incompletion rate. And I think he had 30 touchdowns to 65 interceptions in his, at least it felt that way. But last year, Taylor seriously completed 64% of his passes, 1,431 yards, 5 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, and he did run for 197 yards on the ground. Now, he's had some fumbling issues. He had 4 fumbles that hit the ground last season. He's got to improve his ball security, and at 35 years old, that's something you should know how to do. All right, so that is something to keep in mind. Again, that's why the offensive line is going to be a big freaking deal. Just one more reason. Okay, so that was Monday. Then we go to Tuesday, and we get to Leaky Fatu. I haven't heard his name actually spoken yet, but the Jets give him a 1-year, $2.5 million contract, super low cost, 25 years old, most recently with Arizona. And again, you know Joe Douglas loves to sign free agents who are coming off their first contract. But he weighs 340 whopping pounds, has played 56 games in his career, 3.5 career sacks, 2.5 of them were last year, 15.5 run stops. Okay, and last year he played 55% of his snaps against the run, had 28 tackles and 5 tackles for a loss. This is your Al Woods replacement, only he's about 11 or 12 years younger. So this is just going to be one of those rotational players. We know how this defensive line works. Wow, we got a sudden pop in attendance here. Everybody, welcome. All the newcomers, welcome into the chat. Feel free to leave a comment. If you have any questions or anything that's on your mind, let me know. But we're talking free agency. We just spent some time breaking down the AFC East teams, and we saved the Jets for last. Quick hello to Jay. He likes John Simpson and Morgan Moses. Yep, I'm going to get to Morgan in just a moment. And Billy is here as well with his usual ray of positivity. He makes Elon almost look positive by comparison. And if it's OBJ, Billy, you will hear a rant like you've never heard from me. Oh, I will go freaking off if that actually happens. I better check Twitter, see if anything's happened. The only news that I have here is from baseball. If you're a baseball fan, Brewers closer Devin Williams expected to miss 3 months with 2 stress fractures in his back. So all the best to Devin Williams. Hopefully we'll break a little bit of news here tonight. Hey, last year we broke the Denzel Mims trade. That actually happened on the air. So who knows what might happen. All right, but yep, doesn't look like there's been any news during the show. But Billy, yes, I want no part of OBJ, and I don't think it's going to be him. You could bring OBJ in as like a 4th receiver, but the Jets need a starting receiver, and that's not him anymore. All right, so then we get to the Morgan Moses trade. So this quelled just the latest round of Joe Douglas sleeping or is ordering food rumors, just these absolutely ridiculous posts. I actually had to get off social media for like 2 or 3 hours. It was just so ridiculous. And then I decided, what the heck, I should actually try to get some work done. But the trade, quick swig of water for the working man and woman out there. All right. So the trade was Morgan Moses and pick number 134 going to the Jets, and going to Baltimore in exchange was pick 112 and 218. So the Jets dropped 22 slots in the 4th round. So that's, if you look at the NFL draft chart, just for context, that is about a late 5th round pick is what that is. And then you throw in a 6 as well. It was pick 218, the compensatory pick. So basically, you traded a late 5 and a late 6 for your starting right tackle who has a proven track record. And the thing with Moses, and I've had some opinions on Moses in the past. I always liked him as a leader, always liked that he was tough, thought he was a great run blocker. But when he was with the Jets, I did not think he was a very good pass blocker. I felt that was a bit of a problem, and that's why I wasn't overly upset when the Jets let him go initially. But then, I wasn't happy. I wasn't upset. But he goes to Baltimore, which made a lot of sense because Morgan Moses, those who don't know, is from Richmond, Virginia. He's from kind of up the road. Which Richmond where Nick Shine and I will be, and Johnny Jimenez and I will be not too long from now, a couple weeks. But he is from Richmond. He went to college at the University of Virginia. He spent 6-7 years playing for the Washington Redskins, not the Commanders, but the Redskins. Okay, so that is his home. That is his roots. That's where he was born and raised. So when the Jets could not guarantee him a starting spot because they had signed George Fant, they had drafted Mekhi Becton. When they could not completely guarantee him a starting spot, he went home. He went home. He went back to the DMV area, as they call it. So I can't, so you couldn't blame him for that. So it wasn't that the Jets didn't want him back. They just wanted to give the younger players an opportunity. But now he's 33 years old, played 14 games last season. And let's take a quick couple of looks at the numbers here. So Morgan Moses in 2023 allowed a 5.6% pressure rate. That's 30th out of 83 offensive tackles. Pretty good. And his run block grade was 10th at 77.2. So the run blocking, still fantastic. The pass blocking actually got better last year, which is very encouraging. Took only 4 penalties last season, and he's taken 15 in 3 years. So basically, that's 1 penalty like every 3 games. Really, really good, including only 1 holding penalty in 3 years. Crazy, crazy good. Now he's got 1 year left at $5.5 million. And it'll be interesting to see if the Jets do try to extend him, give him a little bit longer term contract. And now that then begs the question, what did the Jets do with the draft? How does that affect things? Everybody's got their own theories right now. Well, I'm going to give you my thoughts in one moment. But before I do that, a quick to the great Dane O. Make sure you have multiple exits plotted when you meet Johnny. I've actually met Johnny before, more than a couple times. It's been a couple years since I've seen him. Ever since the family started, the Jimenez household started taking over, Portsmouth, Virginia. He didn't have time because he's got a whole kingdom to raise. So, but yeah, Johnny's an awesome dude. No doubt about it. Yeah. Billy SBC, Tyrod gets injured behind a bad line like the Giants had last year. Yeah. Well, you're playing on the MetLife Stadium turf. We know what can happen there, right? We got the great Curly Norman, the king of trivia, my biggest nemesis in the trivia labyrinth. We will get to that a little bit later on. Curly Norman, good to see you. I will say this. I think this is going to be one of our easier questions we've had in a while. That's pretty much what I'm thinking at this point. All right. So we take a look at what's going on with the draft. To me, this pretty much eliminates right tackle only. The offensive tackles who play the right side to me are now not an option because you are not drafting any player at 10th overall to sit him on the bench for even 1 year. If you were to do that with a quarterback, that would be one thing, but you're not doing that with an offensive lineman. You're just not. So to me, J.C. Latham and Talise Fuaga went to the bottom of my list. Not that I don't like them, not that I don't respect them. I just don't think that they are a fit now for what the Jets need. Because Morgan Moses is a right tackle, period, end of sentence. John Simpson and Elijah Vera Tucker are your guards. Joe Tippmann is your center. That leaves one hole, and we all know what it is. But can the Jets still get an offensive tackle? Can they get that left tackle? I don't think there's any way Joe Alt drops now. Not after the Titans, because there was possibilities the Titans would go after a wide receiver or maybe a Brock Bowers. I don't see that happening. Not after they signed Calvin Ridley and gave him $92 million, $50 million of that guaranteed. I just don't think that that's going to happen. So to me, they drafted Peter Skoronski, not that long ago. Now, if they're going to leave him at guard, then they need to tackle that much more. To me, I can't see Joe Alt getting past Tennessee. That's where I think he's going to go. So to me, if you're Joe Douglas, do you consider trading up? I think you have to trade all the way to 5. I think you got to move up 5 spots to draft Joe Alt. If that is who you want, and that's what you feel you need, then you go get him. And if you've got to trade like 2 picks next year, like a second and a third next year, I don't know what it'd be, like a second and a 4 next year, something like that, then, you might have to think about it. If that's what you want and you think he is that much better than Fashanu, Mims, Guyton, anybody else that you could get at that spot, you do it. But let's see what winds up happening. So let's see here. Arlen, the Jets will get 1 before the draft, tackle before the draft. Yep, reacting to Billy. And behind whoever the Jets sign will be Carter Warren and probably Max. I think Carter Warren and Max Mitchell are competing for a roster spot. I think the Jets are going to have maybe either 9 or 10 offensive linemen on the roster this year. But you know what? I don't know if you can really afford to have two tackles there that you're developing and you're not sure what they're going to become. But I'll tell you this: Morgan Moses, pretty dang good mentor for Warren and for Mitchell. That's pretty good. But I don't know if the Jets are going to bring in two tackles. Put it this way: I'm not interested in bringing up like a developmental tackle because I think we've already got two of them. Okay, if you want to bring in a guard to develop, a center to develop, that's a little bit different. But with the tackle situation, you need somebody who's ready to play. And if you wanted to bring in, I'm going to get into like who's left in a moment. But to me, you need, if you wanted to bring a backup tackle, that's fine, but you're only going to have so many of those available. I mean, do you want to bring in Donovan Smith as your primary backup? Not that we love him, we don't. His play has slipped, but if we're bringing him in as the primary swing tackle, I could see that. I mean, George Fant's not an option. He's off the board. He's going back to Seattle. Okay. So, you could do that, but by no means would he be the starter. Now, I'll get into who I think I would want in a moment, but, you could, but to me, you get Tyron Smith or you get David Bakhtiari. To me, that is what you do. You get one of those two guys. Now, the other thing you could get, if you want to go a level or two less, is Charles Leno from Washington. He was released. He's 32 years old. He could be a stopgap if you need him to be. Also, I think it's what DJ Humphries from Arizona was released. He had a $22 million cap hit. He's been a left tackle in the league for a long time. The problem is he's coming off a torn ACL, and he may not be ready to start the season. So if you saw that about Humphries being released from Arizona, doesn't make sense. Not right now. That's going to be like a in-season free agent signing. If I had to guess who our left tackle is going to be, I don't know if Fashanu's going to drop. I think it's going to be David Bakhtiari. If I had to bet on somebody, it'll be Bakhtiari, and the Jets will bring in one other tackle. Depending on what they want from Warren and Mitchell, they might bring in one other tackle as like a primary backup, something like that. But I think it's going to be Bakhtiari if I had to give you a guess right now. So, and then there's other options. You could go with a weapon. The name Brian Thomas is suddenly getting really, really popular. I do like him. I'm a little bit more of a proponent for Roma Dunze than I am anybody else. Marvin Harrison Jr. to me is not going to be available. We all know that. Malik Neighbors, I don't think he'll be available. And I think a Dunze with his size is a little bit better of a compliment to Garrett Wilson than Neighbors is. So I would like a receiver with a little bit more size and, really good at contested catches, and Roma Dunze can do that. So to me, if I'm going with a wide receiver, I'm probably going to Dunze, but there are many, many wide receivers that you can get throughout this draft that would be a fantastic fit. Curly Norman in favor of Bakhtiari. Okay, there we go. Yeah. He never plays football. I'll tell you this, when he plays really well. I just have to do a quick rewind here. Just make sure I saw this. Curly Norman says, definitely Bakhtiari. He never plays football. JD loves that. A moment ago, Curly Norman said, I'm usually negative in stream. I'll try to be positive tonight. You lasted 5 minutes! Hey, Wild Wave, good to see you, man. I'm glad you're here tonight. Man, we've got a packed house tonight. And you know what? Let's take a quick look at what's going on down here. We might have a special guest joining us in just a moment or two. Yep, we're going to have somebody coming in just one moment. But I'm just going to finish this slide off and we'll get right into it. Thomas Morstead signed, which the worst kept secret in the world. Chuck Clark stays. Awesome. We already talked about Bryce Huff and Jordan Whitehead on his way back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he's going home. All right. Well, those are my thoughts, but it's not just my thoughts that I know you all want to hear from. Because now and then, I like to give you a little bit of a bonus, a little bit of a surprise, the opinion of another Jets, well, I would say expert, but just somebody who suffers along with the rest of us. But he does have, his voice is a lot deeper than mine, and his beard is a lot better than mine. Welcome with me, my fellow Jersey boy, the one, the only, Nick Shaw! Hey, how you doing tonight, sir?
What's up, Doc? How are you, buddy?
How's doing all right. It was, man, we got a happy
I was
chat,
without
man.
Chaos tonight. He's traveling.
Oh,
I was without
traveling?
Chaos. He was in New York. So I went on for a little bit, and I told everybody, "Get your ass over here."
Put it this way: when I see the bump in my
So,
numbers that I do, I know who's
wait a
usually
minute.
responsible for it. So I thank you.
Close that.
All right. Yep.
It's deserved.
Everything good?
People
All right.
haven't caught on. Let me throw them over here. Do some good stuff.
There we
No,
go.
Johnny. Johnny, you're not allowed to have a reunion, Johnny.
Oh boy, Nick gets more
I got a better
FaceTime than a
face.
female.
I got a better face. Look at this. Look at this. No flaws. Beautiful. It's perfection. It's not even a filter. See all these Instagram ladies with filters. Pure perfection right here. What's up, everyone? Nice to see you all again.
Yep, for sure. Well, we've talked a little bit about what these different AFC East teams. Yeah, Scott says we have a little bit of a lag thing going on. So, Nick, close your browsers down already.
I did.
Yeah, I have to. Let's see. You know what? Yeah, since you're in, I'll try. Yeah, because we've
I
been
have
having
nothing
any
up.
issues. Let me try one thing here.
You lagged a couple times before I got on.
Okay. All right, let's try. All right, I'll close. One or two things out. All right. Well, I had the separate YouTube page open just in case we wanted to do a poll of some kind, but maybe that's what was causing
That's
it.
what it
So
does. I think
I
playing
closed it.
that video slows it down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's that. Yeah. Hey, we tried. So if we do a mock or anything like that, that's what we'll get to.
downloading at 600, 516.
There we go. Scott Foster might be stoned. Well, hey, if that's the only way you can get through one of my shows, hey, I'm here for you. Yeah, I will accept 420 super chats.
Johnny, better?
It looks fine on my end, bro. Yeah, James. So with the browser, so with this, I actually use, well, I think it was Firefox back in the day. Yeah, I use like Mozilla because I found when I was using Chrome for this, I couldn't get like the sound effects to work. I couldn't get the sound effects to play. So that's why I don't use Chrome for this. So yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on. So I did take I went through a little bit of a recap of the AFC East. Now, I'll just ask kind of a general question. Did you see any moves that any of our division rivals made, whether it was a player they gained or a player they lost? Anything that stood out to you one way or another?
Oh, I'm happy we don't have to play Christian Wilkins twice. I think that's the biggest AFC East move so far, right? Is Christian Wilkins leaving and going to the Raiders.
Yeah, I would probably say so. I mean, I didn't expect Robert Hunt to go there, but yeah, but I think most people didn't expect Wilkins to get the free agency. I don't think most people expected Hunt to get the free agency. So
They
Miami's
have
turning a
to.
whole
They
lot
put
of
up so much stupid money for everyone else that now they can't pay guys. Like you're losing a guy like Wilkins. Wilkins is a guy you build your defense around. But you wanted to have all these stupid wide receivers making stupid money.
Yep, and you're adding in the defense, you're basically focusing on linebackers and a 46-year-old Jalen Ramsey, who still tries to convince you that he's still 23 years old.
You don't lose a guy
Yep.
like that. That's bad
Yeah,
football management. That's horrible football management. You don't lose a Christian Wilkins. Unless he's a complete a-hole to like the whole team. But now you lose him and you get nothing? I don't get it. I'm happy for them. Don't get me wrong. I hope they make more awful decisions. But I think that's not in the AFC. I think not just the East. I think that's the biggest move in the AFC so far. Is him.
It very well may be. I mean, I actually have a list here that I have on my tablet. I have down a list of every single free agent signing that's happened so far. I know, because I was trying to make a list of like which ones I felt were most impactful. But yeah, because we have some comments here about Houston. Hey, chat, put it in there. Who do you think has done the best in free agency and who's done the worst? Just curious to find out what everybody's opinion is. And we'll spend a moment talking about some of the other free agents who are going to be who are still out there on the market, because there's still definitely some talent. And I think we all need to be reminded again sometimes that the best players don't always go immediately. And then when you least expect it, a good player might suddenly become available, which is what happened today. Dane does not like what Tennessee's doing. Tennessee's done a lot. You're not excited about Mason Rudolph in as their backup quarterback? How dare you? Yeah, let's see. So Tennessee brought in Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley. They signed Lloyd Cushenberry, if I remember correctly. Yep, they signed Cushenberry. So they definitely made some major changes to that offense. Plus, they still got DeAndre Hopkins and whatnot. And yeah, they brought in the cornerback from Cincinnati. Man, that offense has gone through some crazy, crazy changes. So
Yeah, they're trying. It's Callahan's son, right? Bill Callahan's son's the head
yeah,
coach there now.
yeah, Brian
Just,
Callahan. Yeah, that's
you know,
right.
maybe he's trying to do what Miami did, right? Build an offensive upon speed.
Yeah, it very well may be. Now, as far as Washington goes, let's see. They had Tyler Biadasz and Nick Allegretti to shore up the offensive line from Dallas and Kansas City, respectively. Dorrance Armstrong, the edge rusher from Dallas, went over there. Our old buddy Frankie Louvu. Good for Frankie for getting 3 years, $36 million. That's a good story.
Yeah,
For him to get paid.
and they got the big dog today.
Yep. Yep. They got Bobby Wagner
Nice
and
little free agency.
yep, and most of all, Jeremy Chin in free agency in safety. So yeah, but yeah, you definitely had some ex-Jets getting paid. Whether it was Leonard Williams, whether it was Blake Cashman, whether it was Frankie Louvu. Quite a few. Quite a few of them.
And
So
Quinn is good enough to bring that together, right? It's not like that
yeah,
2004 craziness, and they just brought individual talent. I think Quinn is good enough to bring the defense along. To be determined with Kingsbury.
yeah. Oh, and Washington also got Mariota as quarterback. Oh, and Austin Eckler. Almost forgot Austin Eckler. Yeah, they got Eckler. So Washington brought in a lot of players. Now, Curly Norman, yeah, saying what I think we all know deep down. The Jets still need an impact wide receiver and starting tackle. But remember, we don't have to get them all this week. There's still a little thing called the draft. And to me, as long as you address those two things, you have a pretty good thing to roll with. Now, you still need some other pieces here and there, depth in certain spots. To me, you still need a backup running back. You might need to add like maybe a low level developmental edge rusher to replace a Bryce Huff. Maybe even another cornerback, something like that. I just have this weird feeling the Jets are going to go after another tight end. I personally don't really need, if it's not Bowers, okay, then I'm not interested in the tight end. And I'm not as big on Bowers as you are. But I will say this, I understand them taking the chance if that's something they want to do. But I'm not interested in signing some random tight end. I like what they have with the 4 that they have already. Let's work with that. Let's upgrade the outside receiving game. That's kind of where I'm feeling as far as that goes.
Agreed.
So, yeah.
I just got asked that question on my channel, and I answered with someone asked, what else could you see us getting? I think the names I want, Curtis Samuel. I want Ashton Davis retained. I think Bakhtiari. I think it's the worst kept secret in free agency that he's going to end up here at some point.
I think so too. Yeah.
And then
now,
maybe in the draft you get a weapon, you get an edge, you get another D tackle, and you get another tight end. I think those are, and a running back. I think those are the main positions we need to get. Someone asked, what else do we need to be a Super Bowl contender? And that was the pieces that I listed.
would you add, what about a developmental quarterback? Would you draft a quarterback in the lower rounds? Is that something you're interested in? If the right one's there?
I'll be honest with you, and I'm not saying it like I'm not being rude to you. I don't give a shit this year. Like this year, I don't give a shit. Like you're gonna draft one, and then what? He's gonna be labeled as a failure because he didn't play because behind Rodgers. Like I would rather don't do it. If you're doing a 7th round, okay, sure, take a shot in the dark, right? But I would rather next year maybe go with a 2nd or a 3rd, and
Okay.
or a 3rd next year, and get somebody who could sit. Because if Rodgers is saying 3-4 years, there's no reason to get one now, right?
Yeah.
What's
For
the
anybody
point?
who happens to see Aaron Rodgers on the street, just go 4 more years, 4 more years. But Scott Foster, our newest subscriber, Scott, thank you very much for subscribing to New York Sports WickerMedia. I appreciate it very, very much. Ask, is AVT being the other starting tackle on the table? I think it's on the no. I'd say if it was ever on the edge of the table, it got completely brushed off today. with the acquisition of Morgan Moses.
That door
AVT to me
closed, and it closed on Tigo's toe.
Oh gosh, yes. AVT to me is not a left tackle in the NFL. He can, if you need him to do it for like a game, fine, if absolutely needed. But no, you want to put your. We talk about best five linemen. That's what Robert Saleh says. We want the best five offensive linemen. Well, you not only put on the five best talents, but you put them in the best position to succeed. And for ADT, that's playing guard, whether it's left guard or right guard, and not in Denver, right? So to me, yeah, ADT to me at this point is locked in at right guard. I don't think there's any way around it at this point. And I think now at this point, hey, he already knows that. I think there was a good possibility. I thought it might last till the draft, where we didn't know where certain players were going to be playing, where Tippmann might be, where AVT might be. Well, it's only March 13th, and we pretty much know where they're going to be playing next year. So to me, that's direction. That's getting your house in order. And, so the fewer questions that have to be asked about the way this team's going to be made up, the better off we all are. So, all right. So let's take a look here. Johnny Jimenez spreading the fake news that the Titans traded for Zach Wilson and the Jets are getting a 6. So this report obviously came from CNN. Thank you, Johnny. What did I say?
I had a good Biden joke on my channel.
I we could all mock CNN, but
Jameis Winston got signed to Cleveland, and somebody goes in the chat, Cleveland added another predator. Like, who'd they sign? Bill Cosby? Joe Biden?
Oh boy. Let's take a look. Let's see what else is going on here in the chat. All right. So yeah, I'm seeing a few comments here about Bakhtiari. I'm seeing a few comments here about Tyron Smith as well. And to me, you got to come away with one of those two, because again, like I said earlier, I don't think Joel is an option. Olu Fashanu to me seems to be becoming a little bit more of a possibility. It's not a complete pie in the sky dream. Don't know why the stock is dropping. I don't know if it's because suddenly his hands are apparently 2 inches smaller than pretty much every other tackle. I don't know what it is, but he is an NFL ready pass blocker. So, but to me, you're taking quite a bit of a risk if you think he is going to drop to 10. So to me, Bakhtiari, when he plays, he's fantastic. But you don't know what he has left when you have five knee surgeries in 3 years. So to me, if they were to sign Bakhtiari to like a incentive-laden deal for a year, maybe 2, and they were to draft Fashanu to go with that, I could understand it. And if it just winds out that Fashanu doesn't get to play in the first year because Bakhtiari's healthy and he's being productive, well, that's a good problem to have. May not be an ideal situation that we drafted a player at number 10 who isn't playing, but you know what? You can't be too sure with this offensive line. You can't be, because it killed our season last year. It killed our season. We cannot let it happen again.
I'm a big proponent of, if we do get a Bakhtiari or someone else who can be a starting left tackle, trade out of 10, get a second-round pick, and then take a developmental tackle who's still capable and talented enough to play in round 2, and go get a guy who can help us more in round 1 this year, whether it's edge, D tackle, wide receiver, whatever. But yeah, I wouldn't want to take a round 1 tackle and have him not play just because I don't want to read Twitter with he's a bust.
Boy. On and on it goes. Hey, it's been proven. I went through the numbers last week. When he plays, he's fantastic. Even in the last couple of years when he was hurt and he did get on the field, he was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So, Dave with an interesting question. What amount of cap space is a general 6th-round pick worth to you? I'm curious what the value equates to when it comes to recoup for gaining Zach's 5.5. Trying to make sure I'm understanding this question. I mean, you're not going to pay much money, obviously, for a 6th round. I guess he's talking about, so if we were to trade Zach for a 6, how much cap space is worth it? Okay. Well,
It would be $5.5 million we would save if we traded him, unless we ate some of the cap hit. It might take that, but to be honest with you, if it's going to get to a situation where we have to eat most of it anyway, then to me at that point, just release him anyway.
Remember the Stafford trade? Remember the Stafford Goff trade?
Stafford for Goff?
Yeah, they traded him to the Rams, and they also gave a pick to take him.
Right.
Maybe you're looking at that. Oh, that was Goff. Rams sent Goff and a pick to Detroit in order to take him.
Right.
Yeah. So, like, we got to give away a 5 next year and Zach Wilson to get a 7, and you get the money off the books. I think it's worth it.
So the Jets would trade a 5 and Zach to get a 7.
I'm just throwing out for discussion purposes, right? Like we trade Zach Wilson and next year's 5th based off playing time or whatever, like a 6, and it can move up to a 5 with playing time.
All right.
For next year's 7.
I mean, if it's for caps, put it this way: if that were the case, the Jets would need all the full $5.5 million for sure.
That's the difference.
And then we'd have to use that towards something. But what would that? Put it this way: if we were to use that money and Bakhtiari would come here for $5.5 million, I can get it. I can understand it.
You want him off the books. You don't want to have to cut him and eat the whole 11. So anything you do to get rid of him is a fucking win. Even if you have to pay and lose out on the draft picks to free up that money, is worth it.
I'll do like an exchange of 7th round picks, something like that. I don't know if I want to go down 2 rounds, but I get your point. Like, I've never heard of getting a player and a better draft pick to go down and get a worse draft pick. I've never heard of something like that before. That would cause a little bit of outrage.
That was the Goff trade. They sent Goff and number 1 picks for Stafford.
But it was a player for a play. Well, it was a quarterback for a quarterback. I know we'd be doing with the intent of acquiring something. To me, it's a little different. I get where you're going, but
freeing up that money is worth it. If you can't get someone to trade for him, then you got to keep going deeper.
All right.
It's not option A, it's option G, but it could still be an option.
Option G for God help us. Billy SBC asked us, any interest in Ezekiel Elliott? 0. None. No. Got no interest in Ezekiel.
I'd rather bring Brandon Jacobs out of retirement. It's the same fat guy.
Yeah. Hawk, we ban you for 30 minutes every week. All right. No. You're good. You're good. Okay. So, but looking at who else is available left tackle. So you got Bakhtiari, you got Tyron Smith. We talked about Humphreys. Trent, and you don't really – the offensive tackle markets move very, very slowly. For the first 2 days, it was just Jermaine Illuminor. And that was it. The interior offensive line was just boom, 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 out it goes. But there have been very few tackles who have been signed. I mean, today you saw George Fant. You saw Jonah Williams get an absolutely insane contract from Arizona. And boy, am I glad that we got Morgan Moses for a third of the price. Oh, my God. That worked out much better. You do have like a Josh Jones from Houston who could be a nice swing option. To me, that would be the kind of free agent you might want to put behind a Bakhtiari. I could get with that. So put it this way. If it wasn't Bakhtiari or if it wasn't Tyron Smith, what would you want to do at left tackle?
Get a prosthetic toe and go play myself. I don't know. I don't love a tackle enough to say I have to take this guy at 10, and that includes all. I don't love any of these tackles. I don't think there's that Joe Thomas, Orlando Pace. I know there's not, because they wouldn't be talking about the best tackle being there at 10. There's not that guaranteed franchise Hall of Fame left tackle in this draft. Like, all is nice, but I don't think he's a Hall of Fame. There's guys that go into the draft. Joe Thomas, Orlando Pace, Jonathan Ogden. We were told
Walter Jones.
Yeah, Walter Jones, Tony Baselli. These guys. They're going top pick. They're elite. They're plug and play. They're all time greats before they even got to the draft. I don't know. I'm not excited about it. Like, I'd rather have a veteran that we could play And if we have to then put a tackle in, a rookie, we could. But
You know what?
I'm not enthusiastic about anyone.
Okay. Well, I think Alt has about as high of a floor as any prospect in the draft, outside of Harrison.
Yeah.
I would go there. He's
But
going
I
to be plug
think
and
that
play for
tax
10 years.
is
How
so-
high is the level going to be? We don't know for sure. But you can count on him as at least a reliable starter for 10 years in my mind.
Yes. But there's not that perfect prospect. There's not that pristine tackle that some years you get. We wouldn't be talking about the top one possibly being there at 10 if there were.
Yeah, if there was that perfect prospect, right, he certainly wouldn't make it to where we are.
Yeah.
Curly Norman, if they have to get a tackle via free agency, can't rely on a rookie to start right away. Alta's the only one that I would feel very, very, very confident. But again, Fashanu can pass block on that level. His run blocking needs a little bit of development. But look at the other run blockers on this line especially on the right side.
That's a good point.
Yeah, between AVT, now Morgan Moses and Joe Tittman. And, we have some pretty decent blocking tight ends, too. Hello, Jeremy Rucker. Yeah, I felt like what was I saying over and over before last season how I wanted this offense to operate? I said the same. I had a 2-word phrase. I said it again and again and again. Run right. I kept saying it and saying it and saying it until the offensive line completely started to collapse. And then Aaron Rodgers went out. But now you can really do it with Moses.
Mine was effing score. Those were
I didn't want to ask for too much now, considering who our coordinator was.
Yeah.
But Sluggo with a point. Seems like the draft is 80% right tackle. Sluggo, here's what I would say. If you look at that sort of 3 to 6 range or 3 to 7 range on the tackle board, I agree with you. With guys like Latham, Jordan Morgan, with Talise Fuaga, I think those are right tackles. There are some other left tackles a little bit lower on the list that you could go after, though. Even if the Jets were to get into the second round, you could get, whether it's Patrick Paul, whether it's a Kingsley Suamatea from BYU, whether it's Kieran Agamajabi. There are a lot of good tackles out there, many of whom are ready. This is a deep, deep draft for offensive tackle. Even like Garrett Greenfield, you can get in the 5th round, could be ready to start next year. So you can get a lot of them. The problem is the Jets need one now. Okay. So, but I definitely agree with needing to get one in free agency first. And to me, if it's not Smith or if it's not Bakhtiari, we've missed out. Again, I'll give a slight. Charles Leno is like the backup to the backup to the backup. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, we haven't seen the helmet in a long time, have we? Yeah, maybe that's why he's the old leather helmet, that's the one he was wearing back when he was playing left tackle when he had all 10 toes. So, yeah. Simpson will definitely help. Yeah, Simpson will definitely help in both the run and the pass. Hi! Bye. Oh, gosh. No. He's right there. So that's the deal with left tackle. Now, let's spend a minute talking about wide receiver here. I know. So that's the other main position of concern that people are talking about. And the wide receiver market has definitely dried up. Gabe Davis, Kendrick Bourne, Darnell Mooney, and Calvin Ridley all have signed contracts. There are still some good options out there on the market, wide receivers who can absolutely help this offense. But who are you? But it's interesting to figure out who people are most excited about. Because I feel like if you talk to 5 different people, you could get 5 different answers. Now, Dano doing a good job. Yingling repping. Yes, I will be drinking that after the race on Saturday. I've got a 5-miler and it is sponsored by Yingling. So I will be drinking a lot of it after that race on the beach on Saturday. I can assure you. So
the whole race is on the beach.
Year's race shirt. So
the whole race is on the beach.
It's on sort of like the boardwalk, and then the after party is on the beach where they have like sand sculptures, band,
Gotcha.
and all that good stuff. So, yeah, it's always one of the best races. And then tomorrow's the half marathon and the marathon, which I will not be doing. All right. Well, Nathan Colgrove wants to go with Curtis Samuel, who I've never heard of. Just kidding. And Tyler Boyd. Now, Nick is, I don't know if he's a bigger Curtis Samuel fan or if he's a bigger Brock Bowers fan, but I think it is a little bit, it is kind of close.
That's my dream offense. That's the most exciting offense in football, in my opinion. You get
This way.
Bowers and Garrett and Brees and Samuel. Oh, my.
That's it. Put it this way. If we were to get Tyler Boyd, and I don't know if the Jets are going to. In fact, right now I'd say I'm leaning against it. Do you believe that he would be good enough to start opposite Garrett Wilson? Or do you see him as more of that third receiver playing inside like he was in Cincinnati?
I think they're both primarily. They've both had their best success as slots.
Jay, I think you're probably right. There's talks about Pittsburgh. Now, those talks have died off a little bit. But, yeah, now that the wide receiver – if the wide receiver has not been crazy busy, it's been like a little bit here and a little bit there. But we haven't seen like a crazy run on the wide receivers. I like Boyd. Don't love him. Now, I will say this about a couple other people. I think one under the radar wide receiver that I think nobody's really talking about, and we'll get to the other one who was released today. We'll get to him in a moment. One receiver I might give a chance to is DJ Chark. I think he's been a pretty good, sneaky, productive wide receiver for a little while. My biggest concern, he's a little bit prone to drops, but he's been a pretty good receiver who doesn't get a whole lot of recognition, but he makes plays when you need him to make plays. Again, not saying that he is my top target, but as an under-the-radar guy, I'd have some interest. Hollywood Brown, I don't know. Feel like he's a little bit of a one-trick pony. I'm not too interested in one-trick ponies. And here's what I feel about Mike Williams. I've been a fan of his for quite some time. I love the size, the speed, the hands. His hands are very powerful, especially for a wide receiver. Very good in contested catches. And the biggest concern with him, everybody says, is the durability. And when the injuries are to your knees and to your back, absolutely justified. But here's the number of games that Mike Williams has played in his career, going back to his rookie season. 10, 16, 15, 15, 16, and the last 2 years, not so good, 13 and 3. So up until 2 years ago, he was missing pretty much at most one game a year. That's all he was ever missing. But again, when the issues are ACL and your back, that does scare me. So I would be very interested in Mike Williams, but it would have to be an incentive-laden contract with a low base. I'm willing to give him – he's like 29 years old right now. I would give him I'm okay giving him 2 years. I would do that. But again, it's got to be driven by incentives. Games played, production, that's what's got to happen. And even then, you would still need to draft somebody, I'd say, in the first maybe 3 rounds of the draft at wide receiver, just in case something goes wrong. Because, if Alan Lazard is getting more than like 20% of the snaps, then, Lord, what are we going to do? So, Dano asks, Dano with a quick question. Do you prefer Mike Williams or Corey Davis? I'd probably go with Mike Williams for the upside. I would go with Corey Davis for the reliability. I'd probably take the chance on Williams for what he can do. Because when he plays, he's more productive than Corey Davis is. And
Corey Davis will never be a Jet. Corey Davis will never be a Jet. It would be so irresponsible to give a guy another contract who walked away, whatever the reason may be. I don't know if it's personal, family, whatever. I cannot have my team give a guy a contract who retired in August or walked away in August. He'll never be a Jet. He will never be a Jet.
They love him in the building.
They could love him in the building, but why would you give him though? Let's break it down. Right?
Okay.
I'm Joe Douglas. We had a guy under contract. We had a guy going to battle with this team. He walks away. Why am I going to give him a contract again, not knowing if he's going to be able to commit to football?
It's hard to answer the question because, we don't know the full story of why he chose to step away. Maybe it was a temporary situation with his family, and maybe that has now been resolved.
And it might be, but
now if it's about his love for the game, if it's about his desire to work, absolutely, I agree with you. I'm 100% on board. But we don't know what the reason was. Therefore, it's kind of hard for me to give you a definitive answer to the question.
Agreed. That's why I'm kind of throwing like the blanket over it. We don't know.
Right.
But I don't know how you can give him a contract. I don't like. That's just me. That's me as a person who, as a coach, if you don't want to be with us, all right, we'll find somebody who will. Now, granted, we don't know what it is, but without knowing the details, that's my thoughts on it. Until the reason is made public, maybe I'll change my opinion then. I know, guys, but I see what you're saying in the chat, but we're trying to win. I would rather use that money on someone who's going to be there. And what if that situation comes up again and you want to get burned twice by it? You want to clear out a spot, miss out on other players for Corey Davis, and whatever the situation is, if it's someone gets sick, if it's one of those cancer situations with a close family member, I'm dealing it right now with my ex-girlfriend. She's got cancer again. It comes back. I just don't want to see us get burned because, like, look, you can take all the positive words and everything about Corey and everyone loves him. You want to clear out money and offer him a contract, and God forbid a situation rears its head again, he's got to walk away again. Like I don't want to get burnt twice.
I will say this: we have to have as few unreliable players on this team as possible. And when you already have Alan Lazard as one of those players, who I think we would all consider unreliable, regardless who is throwing him the football, I would have to put Corey Davis in the same category, and I don't think we could have two of them. So that would be a concern. And yeah, Harlan does make one point. You know, Corey Davis did get hurt quite a bit. It was usually like core muscles, groins, abs, things like that. That was more my concern. You know, I felt Davis was a very, very good number. And you look at the contract some of these receivers are getting now. Davis got a very reasonable contract. He's just a lot better when he has another receiver on the other side of him. And you could say that about a whole lot of receivers. So, yeah, it is very interesting. You know, Billy SBC, I'm thinking Lazard plays better when he has Rodgers to answer to in the huddle. To which I say, what receiver isn't better when Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback? If I went through the list of names that Aaron Rodgers has thrown a touchdown to in his career, half of them you'd be like, who? I mean, the Richard Rodgers, the Jeff Janices of the world. You know, unless you're like a dyed-in-the-wool Packers fan wearing cheese on your head every week, you don't know who half these people are. Because Cameron Kumaro, I believe, was another one. Oh my gosh, the most obscure names ever. But that's what Rodgers can do or has done.
Yeah. Thank you guys in the chat. I didn't throw that out for that, but these things come back.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a sicknesses aren't permanently cured. So I just wouldn't want to see us lose out on other players. I'd rather get somebody else who doesn't have a question mark attached to their name. Is that the best way to say it? I think maybe.
I do.
I don't want to sign a player who's a what if. I'd rather get somebody who hasn't had any of those, you know, extreme circumstances affect them to the point that it affected him last summer. And it's crazy that Aaron Rodgers is now 40 years old and has still never thrown a touchdown to a first-round draft pick wide receiver.
It's amazing. I went back and looked at the Packers draft picks, first-round picks. Defense, like almost a decade in a row, and finally they took an offensive player, and that offensive player was Jordan Love. It's amazing because they knew Rodgers could elevate all those players. That figured, okay, we could spend really cheap because Aaron is so good. He's going to lift these players up, and then we can really invest in the defense, and then we'll be an absolute machine. That was the way that they were thinking back then.
I don't like you right now because I'm trying to put comments on the air. When I put my mouse over it, I realize I can't. I just got so used to doing it. Dano added in the regular season. Who did he throw to in the playoffs? I know Mercedes Lewis is a tight end, and he was a first-round pick. That was the first guy he ever threw one to. But I did say wide receiver.
I don't know if you said wide receiver the first time, but yeah. And I think they drafted a running back or two in the first round at some point.
Oh, in the preseason. That doesn't count. It's like pre-cum.
But they won but Sluggo, we won the game. We dominated.
48 points won the game. 48 points.
points.
God, we thought we had everything. That was one of the greatest.
That was such a fun night. I still remember that game so well.
You like that, God. Dane? You caught that? I snuck that in there.
Yeah. Oh boy,
dude! I thought we had everything that night. God, 48 points on a Monday night.
Darren Lee with a pick six. I mean, come on, how much? They were throwing passes to who's the Clemson player? Who's the quarterback? Not Taj Boy, but the other one, who was playing receiver
for us.
No, I want to say he played at Clemson. He was quarterback, and we were like throwing him, and we were throwing him passes. He was like a receiver in the NFL.
Wasn't it Taj Boyd?
No, was it? Oh gosh.
That year with the Jets with Darnold?
I know that. I got to look this up.
Wait. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. It's trivia. I'll ask you trivia.
No, too late now. No. You cannot ask me my own questions. Yes, there it is. I pulled up ESPN and the music started playing. Okay, I figured out who it was. It wasn't Clemson. I was actually thinking of Terrell Pryor. Yeah, thanks, Darnold.
Ohio State, yeah.
Ohio State, yeah. I knew somebody, but it's like he had a huge game. Quincy was ridiculous that night. And then next week came Miami. The crowd was crazy, and yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. It is 11:30. It doesn't seem like we've been here 90 minutes, but we have. So I think it is that time when, after every week, I go deep into the labyrinth of Jets knowledge. I bust open the books. I pull up the websites. And Nick makes a call for help to bar rescue. All right, guys, in all seriousness, let's do what we always do. Let's play a little bit of Jet Street. All right, guys, so you know the way that this works. We spend every week, I ask you a trivia question, and I will set the clock for 5 minutes. And I got a question this week that I got to be honest. I feel like I've given some tough ones recently, so I'm giving you one that I think is going to be pretty gettable. But I'll have a backup one just in case here.
What's our category?
Right. Your category tonight is swords.
It's swords. I'll take S words for 500.
It's S words, Mr. Connor. I'll take the rapist for 200.
That's therapists. I'll take the penis mightier. That's the pen is mightier. Nonsense, Trebek. If you have a penis mightier, I'll take a dozen right now.
Wait, it's not a product, Mr. Connery. Wait. Are you selling penis mightiers? No, I'm not. Were you sitting on a gold mine, Trebek?
Knock, knock.
I don't want to hear it. Who's there?
Me at your mother's house.
Oh, boy. All right, let's get right to it. All right, let's see. All right, the question is going to be about the Jets in the playoffs, so you know I don't have a lot of options to choose from.
Oh, so we're making shit up. Okay, go ahead.
The question is, name the two coaches who have coached only one playoff game for the Jets. I'm not even going to set the timer because I know between you and Norman, y'all are going to get this one pretty quick.
Oh, yeah, I know. Okay. Well, one of them is, I'm not going to say it. I know the most recent one.
Okay.
Yeah, Mo. Yeah, Dane got the first one. That's the most recent one.
Yep, Mangini. Mangini is correct.
Thank you, Mo. I'm very good at doing voices.
Nick, what are you doing? Nick Foles Johnson. I don't even want to know what that means. Sluggo. Nathan Colgrove says Pete Carroll.
No, he went 6-10.
That was the fake spike year, and he was gone.
If it's the guy who I think it is, it goes back about 7-8 years before Pete Carroll, right?
That might be true. Harlan Abraham says Herman Edwards. Herman coached a lot in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Curly Norman, the question is, name the 2 Jets coaches who have coached only 1 playoff game for the Jets. 1. No. Dane O says Al Groh. Al Groh went 500 and left. He couldn't wait to coach in the Peach Bowl every year at Virginia.
Thank you to Vinny Testaverde throwing a 99-yard pick 6 to Chris McAllister right before the half from the 1-yard line.
That game, yeah. Jermaine Lewis still running him back.
Another
Jermaine Lewis ruined New York football. Running touchdowns back against the Giants in the Super Bowl and beating us the final week. I will say this. I don't know if you ever watched. Did you watch the 30 for 30, the Bullies in Baltimore, that came out in the last year about that Ravens team?
No. Dane, it is not Parcells. Parcells had 2.
No, it's not Parcells.
We beat Jacksonville at home, and then we beat Denver. We lost to Denver.
But credit on the 30 to 30. They did not spend 1 second talking about that game against the Jets. So that made it a much more enjoyable watch. Billy SBC wants to know, was it Al Groh? You already said no.
I don't want to ruin it. How much time have we used? I think I know the answer. I didn't
set the timer. I figured we'd have this in like a minute.
Oh. Is it Bruce Coslett?
Yes, it is Bruce Coslett.
86, right?
No, 86. No, it was 1990 when they lost to Houston. Okay. I think it was 17-10. So, yeah, it was Bruce Coslett. Yeah, Walt Michaels coached Walt Michaels coached several games, like at least 3 games in just 82 alone, and more before that. Lou Holtz, we all know he didn't even make it out of his first season.
I thought my skin's crawling because I knew the answers right away. I let one go, but I couldn't.
Yeah,
I saw a bunch of the names coming in. I'm like, all right, they don't know. It's just guessing at this point.
Yeah, so it was. So those were the correct answers. It was Bruce Coslett and Eric Mangini. So that is it for the trivia for tonight. Thanks everybody for playing. Yeah. Bruce Coslett is a manager at Costco now, I think.
Are you saying that sarcastically? You don't have anything else?
Hey, no, we could always have more.
Oh, all right.
We could. Yeah, we go. Yeah, it's not. Let
me bring out my my little trivia book.
Oh, okay. Okay, we could do that. Costco, I was just there. Hey, you know what? They had a good deal on those Premier Protein packs. Got a 18 pack for $25. Pretty good deal. Love those things. Harlan wants to know if we do a wheel. Well, the wheel is all up to you guys. Let's take a quick look at how we're doing. Wow, you guys are killing it with the likes. We've already got at least 25 likes. I thank you all very much for that. So, I think I'm going to have to bust out the wheel here at some point. All right, but Nick, if you'd like to throw out a couple of
I'm looking
trivia questions, we could do that.
I'm looking, but I feel like the trivia book is kind of like a kid's trivia book, and it's like true or falses, and it's not like the level of the trivia that you usually do.
Okay.
I'm looking though.
Jets mess
throwing those wheel emojis.
Okay.
I don't know the answer for this one. Huh. All right. Which quarterback has the most wins in Jets history while also having a winning record as the Jets starter?
Okay, I had a guess.
A little tricky. Let me repeat it.
Yeah.
Which quarterback has the most wins in Jets history? They worded this weird. Which quarterback has the most wins in Jets history while also having a winning record as the Jets starter?
I get it. Let's give the chat a few minutes to come up with their answers. I don't want to answer it immediately. Sluggo, I think we got that one. I think we know that one. All right, so both Nathan and a few other, we got some chat Pennington responses. Year, right? Yeah, Harlan and Billy SBC are both saying Kenny O'Brien.
It's not.
It is not. Is not O'Brien?
I don't think Ken has a winning record.
I thought maybe it would have been O'Brien. That would have been my first thought.
This is multiple choice.
Okay.
So I don't know. Is it only of these options? So that's why, this book is kind of.
I don't know, man. How many options could there be?
Yeah, Dane, it's Testaverde.
It's Vidi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me check something real quick.
That makes sense. All right.
Yeah, Ken O'Brien was 57 and 71 and 1 as a starter.
57, 71, and 1? Wow. Okay.
Joe Namath for his career was 66 and 70 and 4 ties.
What was Chad?
Well, I got to pull up what Namath was as a Jet. Hold on. Boom, boom, boom. Namath was 60, 61, and 4 as a Jet starter.
I thought he was one game under 500. I did remember that.
Yeah. Let me get Chad.
I was worried. I was ready to start guessing Quincy Carter or Richard Todd. Although Todd may not have been the worst guess in the world, in all fairness.
Nope. Chad was 32 and 39 as a Jet starter.
That's strange. Didn't think so.
Don't forget, in 07, he went 1 and 7.
Yep. Was on some bad teams. And I'm assuming that's just talking about the games he played, not the ones he was in. Okay. All right. I'll tell you what. Do you want to give us one more question, or maybe we should have a little fun with the wheel?
This is sad. Vinny's 35 and 26 as a Jet starter. That's the most wins. Ugh.
How did you make it? The fact that you made it 1 year sober, God bless you, and counting. Wow.
Right?
With numbers like that.
I got to use the bathroom.
Okay.
You get to look at my awesome fucking thing. That's a really weird sentence to say after I have to use the bathroom. You get to look at my really awesome thing. And I like how the thing pulsates as I speak.
It doesn't pulsate when you. This is what everybody tunes in for every Wednesday night. Okay. All right. So while Nick's gone, you know what? I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna create a poll. So I got to open up YouTube. Hopefully we don't have any background noise here, so I may have to mute this quickly, but I'm going to try. I had to close this out earlier because of the because there we go. Mute that. All right, so I'm going to create a poll. Thank you, Nick, that I now know how to do this. All right, so I'm going to ask you guys a question. What wheel should we do? 100 Jets players. So, guys, you are going to vote tonight on what wheel you want to do, and whoever wins is what we're going to do. Jets draft classes, Jets seasons, and I'll throw in, since we talked about quarterbacks, I'll throw in Jets quarterbacks. All right, there we go. All right, so for the first time, we have a poll in the history of New York sports WickerMedia.
You like that hat? That's my good luck hat. In 2022, we won the 5-game winning streak we had. I wore that hat every game.
I remember that. Yeah, the UNC hat. I remember that. I remember you talking about that.
No, the helmet hat.
The helmet hat. Oh, you came back on.
Yeah. I guess that's Douglas' first time seeing it.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so we've got a poll on what we want to do. So right now, the 100 Jets players is in the lead, but right behind is Jets draft classes and Jets quarterbacks. So, hey guys, let your voices be heard. We'll give another minute or so. Snowball says 100 players and quarterbacks are the same. No, that wheel is quarterbacks and quarterbacks only. 100 players is everything else.
Hold on.
And right now we've got they're the same. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying, meaning they're tied. Okay, I'm with you now. Took me a second there. Apologize.
I had to get in the chat and cast my vote.
Okay, I'm gonna give it one moment, but in the meantime, I'm gonna make a couple of additions to the wheel. I'm gonna change one or two players.
Do we get to know who they are?
I'm gonna add. I'll tell you what. I'll add on Brandon Marshall because he was not on before. I think Brandon Marshall should be on.
Who are you taking off?
I took out
Doug Bryan. Take out kicker.
I will never give up. I will never give up on kickers.
Kickers aren't football players, damn it.
That kicker had a family. We are still tied, guys. 100 players and quarterback. Oh my gosh, this is a dead heat. This is awesome. Maybe do you think I should take out John Connor? I feel like we land on him too much. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
I think we need more high-end players in there, and we don't have a lot of high-end players. So I'm in favor of a low-end player getting swapped out.
I could, but I feel like if I'm adding a high-end player, I got to start to go back to the Super Bowl days.
Well, Brandon Marshall was a high-end player.
Wait. There's no way I left this player out. Is there? I have to scroll through the entire list. If I left this one player out, okay, I'm not going to tell you who I'm adding in, but you'd be ashamed of me if I told you that he wasn't on here. All right. That's it. Okay, guys. All right, I'm going to end the poll. 17 votes. Thanks to everybody. We're going to do the 100 Jets. All right, let's close that out.
Good job, chat.
Yeah. All right.
Trying to stay sober. If we had to go through just Jets quarterbacks, I don't know if I would make the night.
If that was the case, we'd be doing a top 5 list. We would not be doing top 10.
It would be a bottom 5 list, bro.
That actually might be the better way to do it. Okay. All right.
Yeah, you do it reverse. Who is the worst? And the worst is number 1.
Same as the first, but a whole lot worse. The great Hank G, thank you so much for the Canadian super chat. Could we make a wheel with just Jets kickers? Absolutely. Absolutely, I could do that. Now, if you want to compare Pat Leahy to Raul Allegre to Chandler Catanzaro, have fun. We'll definitely have to have the stats ready on that one. It's Nick Lowry. That's another one.
We could not put John Hall in there because John Hall's automatically.
John Hall is the list. It's the John Hall wheel of Jets kickers. That would be the name of the wheel.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, my back.
All right. Slow goes a little baked. You do you, Jude. All right. Okay. Well, hey, thanks so much for that, guys. All right. So let's do this. I am going to go ahead. Yep. Quit mention to the late, great Jim Turner. Rest in power. All right. Let's go ahead and share the screen. All right, entire screen, allow, and now I'm going to flip over to the wheel and maximize it, and we should be in action. And for anybody who may be brand new, because we have such a fantastically big chat tonight, I don't know if fantastically is a word, but I just made it one. What we're going to do is spin the wheel. Yeah, I like it. We'll spin the wheel 10 times, and it is a blind wheel. So what we're going to do, we're going to land on a player, and then we together, I guess I could do this. I could do the poll thing. I suppose I could do it that way if you wanted me to. But we're going to assign a number on a top 10 list. So if you get a really great Jet and you feel he should be number 1 on the list, then you put down number 1. If you feel he's in the middle, you might put down a 5 or a 6. Or if it's an absolute bottom feeder, one of the worst Jets of all time, then you want him down at number 10. And at the end of the 10 players we pick, We will look to see if this is a list that makes sense from best Jet at number 1 to worst Jet at number 10 in order. All right. So, Nick, do you think we should do you think we should, when we have each one, we should make it a poll? You think we should give it a try tonight? Take a little bit of work, but I think maybe we could give it a shot. I just have to click like in and out. That's the only thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be a great viewing experience for everybody.
Yeah, and you can't carry the numbers over. You'd have to keep entering the numbers each time.
Right, that's the thing. Like I have to click off of the wheel and then go back, and then everyone would see me type in the poll. So I don't know if that would be the best way to do it. All right, so let's. Yeah, I think we'll just we'll just do it that way. Clusto saying what a cluster F that wheel is, and Snowball's gonna get it as a tattoo. I love it. All right, guys, here we go. Spin number 1, and and remember our other little stipulation. Before each spin, everybody, put down in the chat what player you think we're going to land on. And if you're the first person to mention, you can only do it once per spin, so don't mention everybody. But if the player you put in the chat, we land on that player, you can pick the number that player is going to be assigned. So if we land on, say, Joe Namath, you can put Joe Namath anywhere on the list if there's an open space that you want. So that's the little extra pick we have.
Ray
right,
Mickens.
so, yeah, we got a couple player picks coming in. I'm going to go, I feel like going kind of an ordinary player right now. I'm going to go with Kelvin Beachum.
Modine, 88 of these players are in 11. That's what makes this wheel so difficult, is ranking 6 through 10 most nights.
We did just make it a little bit better. I will say that. We did upgrade it a little bit.
Dane, it's the, for those of you who are new to this and are like, what am I about to sit through? I will sell it for you, Adam. I will tell. I have said this repetitively. I just saw the name Assist My Suicide in the chat.
I saw it earlier, but I didn't know if I should acknowledge it. I didn't want to acknowledge it, just in case. I didn't want to get in trouble.
Well, glad you're still here. I mean,
we're all praying for you, dude.
Yeah. Hope to see you again in the chat. Otherwise, we'll know.
The great Vervain is here, who's picking Zach Wilson. Vervain, I was thinking about you the other night when the Rangers played the Devils. I hope you're doing well.
So,
all right.
For those who are not familiar with
Scott Foster's doing it stoned. Oh, God. This will be great.
Right. Here's what it is.
Yeah.
It is. You've seen a lot of shows and a lot of people give you stats, videos, mock drafts. This is by far the best addition to Jets content I've ever seen in my 3+ years of watching and being a YouTuber. This is so nuts. It's absolutely fantastic. It's so much fun. It gives you headaches for no fucking reason. It starts fights in the chat for no reason. It is the best thing to come to Jets content since me. Go ahead.
When did you arrive?
3 years ago, like I just said.
I know. Just in the last 2 minutes, is that why it's so good?
It's so good.
Yes, but they say the greatest invention since the wheel, and they weren't kidding. All right, here we go, guys. Yep, Jets Mess. He's a channel member, so he is going. Yeah, he's dropping that wheel emoji. Thank you, brother. Here we go, guys. Spin number 1, and Scott Foster, watch closely because you're about to really feel it. Here we go.
Ray Mickens. Let's go Ray Mickens right off the bat.
Oh, boy. Greg Van Rotten. And this is what we're talking about. Mo, this is one of the 88, or was that Curly Norm? Modine. Yeah, this is one of the 88 you were referring to. Well, Long Island native, went to the Raiders and actually became good, and he may very well be responsible for destroying Mekhi Becton's entire career.
I thought Arby's was.
They say they've got the meats, but I don't know if it's really meat. Dano dropping a 9 3/4. Okay.
Hey, I'm going to go 9. I'm going to go 9 because I know how much awfulness is on this wheel, and there are worse. Like, what
Yeah,
if you get
yeah.
Christian Hackenberg, like we got the other night, who never played?
Yep, absolutely. What if we get Braden Mann? What if we get Wayne Hunter, Vernon Golston, Kyle Wilson?
Or Doug Bryan, who couldn't kick in Pittsburgh to save his life, and hope he lost.
He did win one overtime game, though. He did at least do something well. Something.
Why? He
Greg
kicked the
Van
game
Roten,
winner
what
in
did
San
he?
Diego?
Didn't
Did
he
he-
won? Did he win the overtime game in San Diego? One of them. Right
I-
before the Pittsburgh game, we beat San Diego in overtime.
I remember the Chad Pennington throw to Santana Moss when it was 65
Right.
yards in the air, but that's because it's been such a highlight point of my life. But I was in the middle of like a 3-day party, and that was like the end of day 3 when that game hit, because I started partying on like Thursday that week. I don't remember much of that game.
My man.
I'm not bragging. No, it was a horrible. There were way too many of those multiple day parties that didn't stop. I'm talking not sleeping. Like, it's not good party, bad time, bad night.
Gotcha. Well, I think the Nines definitely have a decisive lead. So I'm going to go ahead and assign that. So Greg Van Roten will be number 9, and every so often I will give you all a recap on where we are. So number 9 is taken, and now we have 9 more spots to fill. So now we're going to get a new batch of guests coming in. So chat, man, this is one of the biggest audiences we've ever had for the Wednesday Night Live show. This is great.
Brian Thomas.
Brian Thomas. I'm going to go with Leon Washington. Chat,
Ooh.
Who do you think it's going to be? All right, I see Jonathan Vilma guess. All right. I'll give you all a minute or so. Hank G going with JoJo.
Oh, the greatest name. JoJo gets a 1 for me every time he comes up because it's the greatest name in the history of football. I love that name as a kid.
I like how Slogo went with Al Atkinson. I like that one. Yeah.
Hey, Okaz. Yeah, I did. I sent you over.
I don't even think I put Al Atkinson on the wheel, but that's another point. Okay. Okaz is here. Nick sent us here.
I would rather have Rowan Atkinson.
Okay. All right, here we go. Spin number 2. And it's coming to a stop on, oh my God, Denzel Mims. Well, here's the question. Was Denzel Mims a better or a worse Jet than Greg Van Roten? Because I'm pretty sure he's going to be in spot number 8 or spot number 10. No touchdowns, had a few catches, and apparently doesn't like salmon.
I'll say this. He blocked for Breece Hall's touchdown in Denver before Breece Hall tore his knee. I'll put him at 8 just because I know the awfulness that's on this wheel, and I want to keep 10 open still. That's my logic with it.
Nick, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. You don't remember Doug Bryan kicking a game-winning field goal in overtime in the playoffs, but you remember that Denzel Mims blocked on that touchdown for Breece Hall in Denver. That wow.
He was the receiver on the bottom who blocked.
That's something else.
Could have gotten called for a hold. You know who did not block on that play?
Corey Davis.
Elijah Vera Tucker.
Elijah Moore? Oh, well, of course, but okay.
Well, no, he was in the game. He was the right tackle, and the play went to the left. And Tucker went through the line. No one was there. Went to get to a linebacker. No one was there. And that's why Elijah Vera Tucker was downfield running with Breece, because he never blocked anyone on the play. He never touched anybody.
Well, and then you're okay. So I'm getting.
All right, let me add this.
Go ahead. You're fine. Yeah.
Denzel Mims blocked more as a Jet than Greg Van Roten did. That's the whole point of that story.
Okay, that's a very fair point.
Thank you.
I have to check this now. 2010.
Watch
2005. Yeah, 2005. Fourth quarter, overtime, 8 seconds left. Jets won the game in overtime on a field goal with 8 seconds left. Ed Hockley was the referee. Was the kicker not Doug Bryan that game? Yeah, Doug Bryan. Yeah. Yeah, he had the game-winning field goal in overtime against the Chargers. So he did. He did have an overtime game-winning kick, despite Dane trying to trip me up like that. You tried, Dane. You tried. All right. All good. All right. So Denzel Mims, I think the 8s are going to win this one. So, all right. I think the 8 got it. So let's go ahead and put Denzel Mims in at number 8. I don't know if we've landed on him before, and hopefully we never will again. All right.
Not when I've been here.
I think so, yeah. Right. Yeah, Dan. The 04 season, so in January 05, right before the Pittsburgh game. Yep, that was definitely it. Okay, it's cool. So let's go to spin number 3. I'm gonna say we land on Jamal Adams, since he's always in the news.
I'm gonna go Corey Davis because it's the first name I saw.
Okay.
And it would be
So I'm
great
going with Adams. I'm going with Adams. And you're going with Davis. Chat, who are you all gonna go with here?
Doug Bryan is absolutely coming out this chat.
All right. Happy Pi Day to all who celebrate. I don't know. Okay, I think we got a pretty good number of guesses in. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Here it comes. Spin number 3. And it's coming to a stop on Mickey Schuler. I would say probably the best tight end in the history of the New York Jets franchise. Played with the Jets for, I think, about 10 or 11 years. I know he had the game-winning touchdown that knocked the Giants out of the playoffs in 1988. So, yeah, I definitely now, this is not a player who's in the Ring of Honor. It's not a player who I don't even know if he ever comes to Jet games much. Don't know what he's doing now. But when he was there, he was a very good Jet. So, Nick, what are your thoughts on Mickey Schuler?
Number 82, Mickey Schuler. Number 82.
Thank you, Bob Shepard. Number 1. All right. Well, I'm looking at the chat, and I'm seeing a lot of 3s and 4s.
Okay. I didn't want to look at the chat.
Uh-huh.
We're 3 guys in. I'll say 4. Because we got 2 bottom guys already. We don't have a 1, 2, or 3. If we had anyone up top, I'd put him at 5. Mm-hmm. But I think 4 is a nice little home for him.
So you're going with 4. Okay. Right now, so we pretty much, the 3s are, I would probably go 4 as well. So I'm going to say right now we're at a tie between the 3s and the 4s straight up. Guys, vote in the chat. Let your voices be heard. Dano says 1 through 8 is available, so just split it. Yeah, that's one way to do it.
What did he say?
Dano says spots 1 through 8 are available, so just split it. Go with the 4.
No, I thought we
and,
put him in
4. I know. I don't want to break it down. I do too much math during my day job. I didn't want to have to do that much more tonight. All right, the 4s are really starting to pull ahead here. I think the 4s are going to have this one, guys. All right, I'm going to put Mickey Schuler, Sir Foul player of Brooklyn. Hey, thanks for stopping by, man. Definitely appreciate it. Yeah, definitely hit the thumbs up. And yeah, you're here for the wheel. So glad you're here. All right, I'm going to put Mickey Schuler at number 4. Although if we had to put him at 3, I don't think I would have any problem with that either. All right. Okay, let's go on to spin number 4. I'm going to give you my name right now. I'm going to go with Jerry Philbin. I think we're going to go back in time to the Super Bowl winning Jets. As I finish off the water. Modine says Victor Green. Assist says Ray Lucas. Nick, do you have a name in mind?
Sheldon Richardson.
Sheldon Richardson? Okay. Hank goes with Leonard Williams. Snowball wants Al Toon. Okay. I go through these names so quickly that sometimes I forget which ones I've already said. Okay. Here we go, guys. 1 or 2 more guesses coming in. All right. I'll give you guys 3, 2, 1. I should do a little countdown for each spin just to have everybody put their guesses in. So, all right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Spin number 4. Little countdown. And it's coming to a stop on, well, it definitely was the Super Bowl winning Jet, but it was number 12, Joe Willie Namath.
Well, the greatest character in the history of the NFL and the man who helped lead the Jets to their only Super Bowl appearance and Super Bowl victory. Great Fu Manchu mustache as well. So, yeah, hey, 4,000 yards in 14 games. There is something to be said for that. Did throw more interceptions than touchdowns, but hey, that was just the style of offense that they played back then. It was very much the gunslinging mentality.
I'm going to, just because I don't think he was very good.
Well, I think you're going to get outvoted on this one because it's pretty much ones all the way through. It's almost a unanimous
What do we
ones.
do if Klecko, Curtis, or Revis come out?
If that was, you know what, if that's the case, then we'd be like, okay, well, it may not be ideal, but it's like, yeah, we could accept it. I mean, he did win a Super Bowl and won the MVP despite not winning, despite not throwing a touchdown pass. But I guess for what he means to the franchise, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it, for the intangibles. I knew Wild Wave would reference the curse. I knew that was going to come. But all right, Dano says 1B, but rounds up. Yeah, I think we got to go with the 1 here. Yeah, I think Namath's going to be our 1 on this list. All right.
Boo.
All right, there we go. So far we have, just to give you a recap, everybody, we've got Joe Namath at 1. At 4, we have Mickey Schuler. Number 8, we have Denzel Mims. Number 9, we have Greg Van Roten. So that means we have spots 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and the dreaded 10 left to go. All right, let's go to spin number 5. Let's start putting some names in there. I'm going to say we're going to land on somebody that I don't think we've landed on maybe more than one time ever, and it's going to be the chosen one himself, Robbie Anderson.
Eric McMillan.
Eric McMillan? Okay, yep, we've landed on McMillan more than a couple of times before. All right, guys, put it down there in the chat. Who's it going to be? Who are we going to land on?
Altoon. I've never had a tune, I don't think. Oh, Scott took that. God damn.
Scott
damn you,
gotcha.
Scotty.
Yeah.
God damn, Scotty. You don't have the power.
Scotty.
Jordan, we just had him the other day. Derek Mason.
Good old Derek Mason. Got through half a season as a Jet. All right. All right, guys, here we go. Spin number 5 in 3, 2, 1. And it's coming to a stop on Kyle Brady. We almost got Darrelle Revis, but it wound up being Kyle Brady. This has never happened. Man, nobody has ever guessed who was going to be. I think, Nick, you might have once. Did you?
I did.
Got it one time, right? Do you remember who it was?
Do
you remember who you picked?
I don't.
I don't either. I know it wasn't JoJo, because I would have remembered that one. All right. We want Sap. We want Sap.
I think it's got to be a 7.
Yeah. I mean, chat's being tough. Chat's going straight to 10. I think because it wasn't Warren Sapp.
Oh.
We got the wrong Brady. I don't know. The wrong Kyle, the wrong everything. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, this is... I don't know if I would rate him below Mims and Van Roten. I mean, let's pull up Kyle Brady's stats real quick. I want to look these up. I think I got to do this here. Because when people think of Kyle Brady, all we really think about is draft night. But I don't think we really have memories of anything he did on the field. So I think we should do this. Okay, so here we go. Played with the Jets for 4 years. Then he spent 8 in Jacksonville. With the Jets, played 63 games, 93 catches, 949 yards, 10 touchdowns. Anything else need to be mentioned? I mean, 3 fumbles. So basically, he averaged like 1-2 touchdowns a year with the Jets. So not very impressive. 10.2 yards per reception. We can get, yards per target. We can get all the minuscule stuff. I mean, he did a few things. It's just, if he had been a 5th or 6th round pick, it would have been different. But as a 1st round pick, just terrible. It's just because the draft selection was so bad.
I'm going to say 7 because of the fact that there's so much awfulness here.
I would agree. I would really go 7.
You guys
I
really don't know the complexity of this wheel and the loads of shit that are on it.
This is where the wheel starts to mess with you a little bit. Yeah, this is where it becomes. This is where it gets really, really tough. I think one or two people
I
may
mean,
have
he's better
changed.
than Mims. Like 10 is
Yeah.
open, but so is 7. He's better than Mims.
Yeah, Wild Wave changed to a 7. Vervain, you think we can't get worse than Brady? He was a damn good blocking tight end. Yeah,
There you
he
go.
was. Vervain, I agree with you, and so was Ben Hartsock.
And Mims was a good blocking receiver. Unfortunately, the guys we
The
drafted.
best blockers will all be down at the bottom. Oh God, Corey Davis is gonna come up at some point on this wheel. It has to happen. All right, guys, I gotta be honest with you. I know we started with the 10s, but I think the 7s are starting to. I think there's more 10 votes, but I think there's some people switching over to 7.
Matthew Smith, who was Kyle Brady.
I might have to put a poll up on this one. Yeah, Hank's switching over to 7 as well.
Let me just clarify this for Matthew Smith, who is a youngin.
Yes, he is.
Just Google highlights Brady Jets, and
you might need to specify that a little bit more, Nick.
It's all right. Kyle Brady fucked us almost as much as Tom did.
And as much as Brady Quinn does in the media, but anyway. All right, it looks like everybody most people kind of came around. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with 7. This may be the worst 7 we've ever had on the board, but that's pretty bad. All right, but we're gonna go with 7.
I gotta tell you though, I've laid down with a few 7s, ended up waking up and they were like a 3 or a 4. So 7s can transform themselves in the nighttime.
If you have 3 7s, if you get 3 7s, you've hit the jackpot.
We are after midnight.
It is after midnight. Yep.
Oh, a 7 can turn to 3 after midnight. And a loss can turn to a win. And a loss can turn to a win if it's a swing state.
Depending on your perspective, or a win turns into a loss. Okay, we're halfway home, guys. Let's do spin number 6. I'm going to say this has been pretty crappy so far. I'm going to say D. Milliner.
This is not the wheel. This is for all the new people watching it. This is not what it usually is. We usually have some good debates.
We really do. We really do. It's about spin number 8 or 9 where we really start to struggle. All right. So, yeah, I'm going with D. Milliner.
I'm going to take man, there's so many names.
Nathan Colgrove says Dental Burnett. I didn't get that one. All right.
I don't know.
Don't worry, you got a 1% chance of being right.
John Riggins.
John Riggins. Okay. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, spin number 6. All right, and I'm still watching the chat, guys. Let's see. Oh, dear God. Chris Herndon.
He did have that one-handed catch against the Packers.
He did have that. That might make him
he's
pretty
a
much
better
as good
tight
as
end
Kyle
than
Brady. And hey, we turned Herndon. What did we turn Herndon into? Did we turn him into Michael Clemens? In that trade, I think he became Clemens.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that 4th we traded for a 4, and then we used that to draft Clemens.
And then that led to the Chuck Norris jokes on the Friday night hangout on my channel.
That's right.
Which took on a life of its own. So for that, he's a 3.
I'm actually surprised. I thought this was going to get some 10s, but it is a lot of 6s. I mean, man, there's so many 6s in here. It's like
so good.
The double took over.
I love that it's just 4 8s in a row and Joe Namath.
Joe Namath never minded me with an 8.
Like all of these guys. Say that again.
Joe Namath never minded me with an 8.
It's true.
Oh, man. I was going to say this might be the worst wheel of all time, but keep in mind, the worst one that we ever did, it was January 25th, and I've told you because I've got it right here on the wall, and our number 1 that night was Jabari Zuniga.
Nice.
And even if I'm being objective, and Chris Herndon was on that wheel too. He wound up at number 9. I may have to read this. Yeah, I mean, probably the best player on the wheel that night was either Chris Ivory or John Riggins.
I'll be right back.
That's how bad it was. It was bad. Yeah, assist says 6, but it's hurting. Yeah, I wait.
My
Matthew
next
Smith,
guess is Brian Poole.
Matthew, you did not say Chris Herndon. All right. So no, do not lie to us, young man. We have the transcript. We can go back and know what the truth is. Okay, Chris Herndon will be number 6. So we filled in spots 1, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We have left to fill 2, 3, 5, and 10. I think it's time for us to start doing a little bit better. I don't know if I believe in the whole manifestation thing, but I'm gonna try it for right now, and I'm gonna say we're gonna get Chad freaking Pennington on this next spin. That's what I'm saying. All right. Vervaine's not as confident. He went with Tim Tebow. Mo's going with Wesley Walker. He's got a little confidence. Assist says Frank Gore. I don't even think I put Frank Gore on the wheel. If I did, I don't even remember it.
He's not.
I didn't think so. Yeah, so you might want to make sure it's somebody that's on the wheel. Might help. All right, Nico, who are you going to guess? Yep, Hank G, you're right. Yeah, previous round guesses don't count. It's a new round of guesses every time.
I said Brian Poole. I had a P. I said
Brian Poole.
before I got up.
You went with Brian Poole? Okay, no problem. Okay. All right, I think we got a few. Yeah, we got enough guesses in there. All right, here we go. This is spin number 7 in 3, 2, 1.
I just want you to know that if I hit, he's going to number 2.
Oh my God. This might be Joe Namath and 9 Scrubs is what. Well, Mickey Schiller's fine, but Calvin, the Louisville Slugger, king of the Idzik 12 Pryor.
Oh,
well,
Matthew Smith. We're not making up rules. It's a new guess for every spin.
We're not. Yeah. That we
that's
never.
Old school shit, man. That's not new. I'll attest to it.
The veterans will all do that. Yeah, not that
Calvin
we try to
Pryor,
do things on purpose to mess with you, but you know.
Calvin Pryor had that one nice tackle in the backfield, so obviously he's better than everyone else. He's a 5.
He had great dreadlocks. I mean, some of the best dreadlocks ever for sure. Dane, who was 4 again? Dane 4. I'll give you a quick recap. So number 1, Joe Namath. Number 4, Mickey Schuler. Number 6, Chris Herndon. Number 7, Kyle Brady. Number 8, Denzel Mims. Number 9, Greg Van Roten. And number 9, Greg Van Roten. I have to put Wilson at number 10 because he was a first-round pick. He was a first-round Pryor. I have to put him at 10 probably. I my hopes for him were like really, really high. I will say that. That is one of those first-round picks where I was just like, this feels like it fits. And when he hit, it was great. But when he missed, it looked like he had never played the game in his life. We've got a lot of 10s here. A lot of 10s. Dane trying, making it a 5, but I think the 10s are gonna win out on this one. Yeah. Hey, Tannenbaum and Idzik did a lot of draft. Hank G, just remember, Idzik was the general manager too. So, Nick, I think we got to go 10 with this one.
I'm against it, but it's your wheel. Go ahead. I'm just letting my begrudging.
Yeah, I'm going with the majority here, and we've got. Let me think here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people said 10, and I think 2 people have voted 5. 3 counting you, so it's like twice the number, more than twice the number. So
we could just split some of those 10s into 5s. We could fix the election. It's been done before.
And it will be done again. All right. Okay, all right, so all we have left is 2, 3, and 5. But guys,
But Dean, this is the best part. This is the best part now, is the instant remorse and regret for people who said 10 when they go, damn it, I should have said 5. They're the best comments in the chat. When they're like, damn it, I should have said 5. So with that being said, I'm taking all my chips and I'm sliding in on Christian Hackenberg right now. Hit it. Let's go.
It's
Just
too
to watch
soon.
the chat, a guy who never played a goddamn snap is going to be 5 on the all-time jet list.
So, guys, here's all we have to do. We have 3 spins. We just want 3 players somewhere in between Joe Namath and Chris Herndon.
No, we don't.
How hard can this be?
I want Tim Tebow, Christian Hackenberg, and Zach
Ja'Kai
Wilson.
Polite.
And Zach Wilson. Yeah, I'll take Ja'Kai. If he's still on there, yes.
I think Polite is on there. I'm pretty sure I got him on there. Oh man!
I want
What if we could get John Hall
10.
at number 2, right?
I want every pick to be a 10. Every fucking one to come out to be a 10. This is why I love this.
I'm gonna say I think we're gonna get a tease. We're always pretty good up until about pick number 8, and then we get teased. So I think we're gonna do pretty well with this one. I'm gonna say Freeman McNeil.
No way we get somebody that good.
We're gonna get something pretty good. I think eventually it's got to work out. All right. I'm looking at the spins. Okay, Tebow, Vilma, Scott, Pennington, Nagel. All right, here we go. We're gonna do spin number 8 in 3, 2, 1. And it comes to a stop on Muhammad Wilkerson. Well, I will
got
say
so
this.
excited because I saw the long name and I thought it was Hackenberg.
You thought it was Hackenberg, right? Yeah. He's not that far away. He's at 2:00, but Wilkerson is at 12:00. And I think we got to say, in all fairness, no matter what you think of Muhammad Wilkerson, he had amazing flashes of brilliance. It ended horribly for him, no question about it. But became a Pro Bowler, or actually earned a second contract, which is like a rarity for a lot of first-round picks from that era.
Rookie contract Muhammad Wilkerson is a 3.
Yep. So we have spots 2, 3, and 5. And keep in mind, everybody, Mickey Schuler is number 4. So if you believe Mickey Schuler was a better Jet than Muhammad Wilkerson, you got to put Mo Wilk at number 5. Okay? So let's give everybody a chance. I don't think we're going to make him number 2, but I think it's going to be a 3 or a 5. I think it's going to be one of those.
I know it ended poorly, and I know his career went off the rails.
Yeah.
Pretty quick, and he's made some awful personal decisions aside from that. But let's not forget, man, he was very good those first couple of years.
It's not too different than the Jamal Adams story. Not too different, except Wilkerson just kind of went away. Wilkerson was just a lot quieter. But yeah, still, it's a sad story. But his story isn't over yet. So as long as there's life, there's hope. And there you are with your philosophical moment of the night, everybody.
Yeah,
okay,
I was deep.
Thanks. I had a moment. All right.
That was moving. That was moving.
Cool. Well, let's see. So 3, 5, and again, everybody vote only once, as we all know. I think this is a split right down the middle. I may have to actually get out of this for a moment and make a poll. I may have to do this. I think it's that close. All right, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment.
I mean, he had 44.5 sacks. He had 2 double-digit season sacks with us. He made the All-Pro second team twice. It's definitely better than Mickey Schuler. He made a Pro Bowl.
All right, 1 second here. All right,
Mickey Schuler never made All-Pro.
There we go. All right.
That alone, I think.
Let's just do this and see how it works out. Where should we rank Mo Wilk? Number 3, number 5. All right. We're going to start the poll.
Wilkerson has more sacks than Schuler has touchdowns.
That's kind of like comparing apples and pomegranates, but
why not? That's a good comparison.
Okay.
Schuler had 12 years as a Jet and 37 touchdowns. He averaged just over 3 touchdowns a year.
12 years. And did Schuler only play for the Jets? Was he a lifelong Jet?
Nope, he played 2 years in Philly in 90-91. He did have one AP second team in 88, but I believe 88 was the strike year. So would he cross?
Or one of them, anyway. Well, number 3 has a pretty big lead over number 5 right now. Right now, Mo Wilk is solidly in the lead for number 3 ahead of Mickey Schuler. Could be recency bias, in all fairness.
No, it's me having 7 YouTube accounts. I voted.
I thought you would have voted for Mo Wilk to be 5, not 3, but okay.
No, I think Wilkerson's better than Schuler. I'm the one
Oh,
saying he could be 3. I think Wilkerson's a better Jet than Mickey Schuler was.
Okay. I got you. No wonder. Okay.
I think that's a good comparison. Sacks to touchdowns.
That's about as well as I guess we could do here.
How else do you compare like a defensive, an edge
Yeah, you
rusher?
pretty much go. Yeah, I mean, you go with years played, Pro Bowls, things like that. Consistency, and did you play that kind of stuff? And you could look at team success as well. You could do that, but again, Mo was here for what 5, 6 seasons, something like that.
No, 7. I think
it was 7 years. It didn't feel that long.
So.
Was it? Okay.
That's what she said.
Yep. I know that's right, as they say down here. All right, I think we're going to give this a few more seconds. Yeah, the majority of the chat has voted. I think this one's pretty much locked in. All right, it's going to be. Let's close this out. Okay, I've got to go back and share the screen again. So let's do that. Entire screen. Allow and go back to the wheel. Blow it up. There we go. All right, we're going to make Mo Wilk number 3. Yep, 69% to 30%. All right, very cool. Dano, least subscribers on opening kickoff week 1 has to shave every hair above their belly button. Okay. All right, let's go to spin number 9. We got 2 spins left to do tonight. Then, then your boys are going to have to call it a night. Let's see, spin number 9.
I'm tired, and I got to do air brake review before my DMV test in the morning.
Yeah, I've got my last run in the morning, my last training session tomorrow before the race on Saturday. So let's go. I think we got to get another quarterback. No, I don't think we're going to go quarterback. I changed my mind. I'm going to go with Marvin Powell. Somebody along that Mo Wilk, Mickey Shoreline. I'm going to go Marvin Powell.
Christian Hackenberg.
Okay. All right, chat. Who are we going to get? Hank G with Klecko. I see Lance Mel. I see Devin Smith. I see Vinny Testaverde. I even see Corey Davis, the great Corey Davis. Okay.
Corey Davis and I have a lot in common. We're both quitters. I had to. I don't know what happened. I just couldn't resist the joke. Nobody jumped down my throat in the chat. It was a layup. I had to take it.
Boy. All right, let's go. Okay, so spin number 9. Let's start the countdown in 3, 2, 1. All right.
Nick
We
Mangold.
need a good one here. We need a good one.
Nick Mangold.
We need a good one. We did not get a good one. We got Tim Tebow.
And that's why you want number 10 open as long as possible.
Yep. We held out as long as we could, guys. We really, really tried. We tried.
Now, does anyone wish they had Calvin Pryor at 5 so Tim Tebow could go to 10?
In good conscience, though, could you put Calvin Pryor ahead of Chris Herndon, Kyle Brady? I don't know.
Knowing your wheel, yes, you have to factor in the wheel, not just football logic. You have to use a percentage of what the wheel is.
Matthew, calm down, please. Thank you.
All right. I want to put Tim Tebow at 1. He loves Jesus, and so do I.
Amen.
Better, Dean?
Maybe we had treated Tebow a little better. We could have ended the curse a little sooner. I don't know. All right, we're gonna make Tebow number 5. The chat has spoken. All right. Well, hey, maybe we can have one mulligan. We'll see. We'll see. All right, we got one spin left, and whoever it's going to be is going to go into spot number 2, right between Joe Namath and Muhammad Wilkerson. I think it's going to be, we never get this lucky at the very end. I'm going to say it's going to be Tremaine Johnson.
There is a lot of times.
Yeah.
I'll go Jason Morrow.
I seriously
it doesn't matter at this point, right? Whoever it is 10 anyway. I
actually added Wayne Corbett to the wheel tonight. Corbett was not even on the wheel. So I did make the wheel better. But
you know what we need to do?
What's
we
that?
need to break it down into we have to spend an afternoon together, and put 10 10s on the board, 10 9s, 10 8s. You know what I mean? We have to break down what we think, make a list of. You know what I'm saying?
I still have the original Word document that I made when I came up with all the numbers and basically was ranking the players. So, yeah, I still have a list. We could just work off of that, when I see in a couple of weeks. So, yeah,
right.
I already have a template to work off of. So,
right.
Yeah, no problem.
Let it rip.
Hank G is right. This list does not reflect that the wheel got better. No, it does not. I only wish this wheel had a little spinning sound effect in the background, but doesn't have that. But hey, it's free, so who am I to complain? Okay, guys, last spin for this list, and it's going to be in 3, 2, 1, spin. Number 10. And it's coming to a stop on this list. Sucks. Derek freaking Mason. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Derek Mason. An absolutely terrible replacement for Jericho Cotchery. Had a fantastic career. All the credit to him, but we got him way, way, way too late. Just kind of like a Ronnie Lott sort of situation, or a Steve Atwater. Just, yep. Out after I think 6, 7, 8 games. We said with the Jets before he was released. So we got to move him into the number 2 spot. And guys, I got to tell you, when you have a list like this, it means only one thing. That wasn't good.
All right. I got to go to bed. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching Adam's show. Thanks for participating. Thanks for jumping over. Thanks for watching my 2 live streams today. And hopefully we have Curtis Samuel or some other sort of weapon tomorrow afternoon. Keep an eye out, and I'll hop on during the day. Adam, take care, pal. Good night.
Godspeed. Have a good night, brother. All right. And there we go. There goes Nick. Well, hey, everybody. We have been on the air 2.5 hours, which I know for a lot of content providers is like a starting point during free agency, but got my day job. But unfortunately, I don't have my own office anymore, so it is what it is. But yeah, this has been a whole heck of a lot of fun, and I will try to do a little bit more during the course of this week. If anything does happen, I'm available. Yeah, maybe we'll jump on live. You never know what might happen, but I want to thank everybody. This was an amazing, amazing turnout. I thank you guys so much. And now that free agency is kind of underway, I think next week most likely we'll have a more full picture of free agency and going forward. So I think that's what we're going to do. And then I think after that we'll start to look at the draft a little more. We'll have more of an idea of what we're looking at, and we'll try to look at some of these other positions that we haven't really talked about as much. We'll talk about edge rusher, quarterback, linebacker. We've done a lot of other positions in depth, but we'll look at some of these other ones a little bit more so we can get more familiar with some of the lower level prospects. And and then we will go from there. All right, guys. Well, I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your week, and we will see you right back here with more content from you know where, the Wicker Chair.